Wondery Plus subscribers can listen to Crime and Sports early and ad-free right now. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.
Rakuten is the smartest way to save money when you shop because you earn cash back at over 3,500 stores. Fashion, beauty, electronics, home essentials, travel, dining, concert tickets, and more. Your favorite stores like Lowe's, Levi's, and Nike pay Rakuten to send them shoppers. And Rakuten then passes on a part of that payment to its members as cash back. You're already shopping at your favorite stores. Why not save while you're doing it? It's a no-brainer. Membership is free and easy to sign up. Get the Rakuten app now and join the 17 million members who are already saving. Cashback rates change daily. See Rakuten.com for details. That's Rakuten. Your cashback really adds up.
Your weekly dose of romance and drama has arrived. Season 29 of The Bachelor is here, and Grant Ellis, certified hottie and former day trader, is trading his day job on Wall Street for a second chance at everlasting love. New episodes drop every Monday at 8/7 Central, bringing you fresh twists in Grant's journey to find his soulmate. This self-proclaimed mama's boy is all grown up and ready to invest his heart. Will his playful charm win over the house full of hopefuls, or will the competition prove too intense? From heartfelt moments to adrenaline-pumping dates, each week brings new surprises in the mansion. Will Grant find his perfect match or end up with a broken heart? Tune in every Monday at 8/7 Central on ABC and stream on Hulu for new episodes of The Bachelor.
Everybody, and welcome back to Crime and Sports.
Yay!
Yay indeed, Jimmy. Yay indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Jimmie Whisman.
Thank you for joining us today on another crazy edition of Crime and Sports as we wrap up the Rubin Carter story. The story of the hurricane, as Bob Dylan said. We're going to wrap it up this week. This is part 4. Have we done a 4-parter, or have we only done 3-parters?
Ever?
I don't know if we've done a 4. I think we've done 3. So Rubin, but I mean, it was so famous, and this story was such a big deal. We haven't had a lot of athletes that Denzel Washington played in the movie. You know what I mean? So,
and you got to call everybody on their bullshit because he wasn't as nice as they say he was.
No, he wasn't as nice as they say he was, and he clearly, I don't think, was a murderer either, as the other people said he was.
Yeah.
So Rubin is just a complete, he's
somewhere in the middle,
a big ball of misconceptions of everybody's bullshit. So we'll get into all that quickly. Before we do that, shutupandgivememurder.com is where you get all of your everything that has to do with either this show, Small Town Murder, or your stupid opinions.
Right.
You can get it all there, including tickets for live shows for Small Town Murder, which are coming. We have September 20th in Minneapolis. That'll be our biggest show ever. Get your tickets. And we're doing a very cool virtual live show for Halloween, obviously. We're going to dress up in costumes and make fools of ourselves, as usual.
Absolutely. For your pleasure.
For your pleasure, and tell a wild murder story. So shutupandgivememurder.com. If you want to hear more stuff, we have more stuff. And we have weird stuff on Patreon. Patreon.com/crimeinsports is where you get all the bonus material. So much of it. Anybody who's $5 a month or above, you get tons of hundreds of episodes you've never heard, bonus stuff, new ones every other week, one Crime and Sports and one Small Town Murder, and we're going to give you all of it. Just take it all. This is all we got. Just everything that we throw out the front door. You want to be on the front lawn to collect it, you can. This week, what we have for you for Crime and Sports, we're revisiting, one of our favorites. We have to do it quarterly, and it's that time again. Theme park disasters are coming again. It's been since the spring, so let's get into that since we're in kind of late summer now. And then for Small Town Murder, it's a banner week, everybody. We're back again. The prisoner dating game is here.
There we go.
So you can't beat it. If you were wondering and on the fence about signing up for Patreon, I think this is the week. You're getting the best stuff. So it's going to be amazing. Do that. Patreon.com/crimeinsports. And you get a shout out at the end of the show as well, where Jimmie will mispronounce your name.
Oh, sure.
Even though he'd love to get it correct. He really would. And the ones you get correct are funny sometimes, too, because people are like, no one ever pronounces that right.
Yeah.
And then other ones are like, you got like Smith wrong. And it's like, what? So you never know.
I don't know what I did.
You never know. So
That Jessica wrote me. Her real name is Jessica. Her mom spelled Jessica with C's, James.
No. 2 C's?
2 C's. Jessica.
Or Jetchicha. Either one if you want to do like Italian style.
Jetchicha.
Or, yeah, wow, that's you. That is a big no, is what that
Jessica is
wow.
your name.
Forever. You be very mad at your parents for that. Like, as soon as I'm 18, I'm changing that on my birth certificate. I am so sick of everybody
full
fucking that up forever.
Epidural blasting, and she writes Jessica.
I want to name my kid Jessica. Like, you're not supposed to get drunk before you have a baby, right? It's okay. Jessica's a beautiful name. If you mix morphine and booze, it's a weird mix. All right, let's get back into Rubin Carter.
Here we go.
Let's clean this bad boy up here. It is 1976, and we are nearing the end of his retrial.
Oh.
We talked about last episode. We ended up with the whole Kelly lady who said he beat the shit out of her in the room. The guy that the lady who headed his defense fund and all that kind of stuff. So we are at the end of this. And it is December 21st, 1976, so right before Christmas 76. And this is the closing arguments of the retrial for multiple murders here for him and Artis. So his defense attorney described the state's case against Artis and Rubin as ramshackle and poorly built. And said...
Solid garage band name.
Yeah, ramshackle, poorly built. Poorly built ramshackle would be a very good garage band. And also a shitty garage. So it said that it would not hold up under scrutiny as well. Well, you just had a trial. That's scrutiny. I think a trial.
That's as scrutinizing as it gets, right?
Yeah, if you were going to say, let's scrutinize this situation, and someone said, let's have a trial. We'll get a whole panel of impartial jurors and
I
a
don't
judge.
think us scrutinizing is enough. I think we need 12 strangers.
And a lady typing it up there. And that's a lot. You know what I mean? That's scrutinization, I would say. Yeah. So they said attorney Myron Beldock, in a 2-hour summation to the jury, said that the attempt to establish racial revenge as a motive was, quote, no good dirt.
No good dirt.
No good dirt. He labeled the state's key witness, Alfred Bello, the guy who was robbing the fucking crime scene as the police arrived, quote, a liar and a thief who was out to get what he could in exchange for his testimony.
True.
Hard to argue any of that shit, I would say here. So he said the state is telling you Rubin Carter was a mad racist killer because they were saying it was revenge for that other killing. Out there on the street hatching a plan to massacre white people. And then he
in his Sunday best.
Yeah, he's going. Yeah, people with fucking gold shoes on out to let's massacre. Hold on, let me put my cracker killing shoes on. Wait a second.
They're bright gold.
I wear my bright gold shoes to murder honkies. All right. Fucking laced them up. So he said that. Then he points out to the jury that he currently lives with his family in a very white neighborhood. So he doesn't obviously doesn't hate white people. He said there are 2 major cons in this case: Alfred Bello and the racial killing theory. Those are the cons of their case, and they're both bullshit. He said he goes on to talk about Bello being on parole, admitting he was acting as a lookout for a robbery, and then said, while I'm here, might as well rob a place where dead bodies are on the ground. Yeah. Real nice guy. So they said, prosecutor, though, he said in his closing statements that there were 6 major strains of evidence that form a rope strong enough to bring 2 murderers to justice.
Well, let's not use that word.
I was just going to say.
In a race killing.
Let's not go with rope metaphors, please. I think we can avoid that probably.
When there's 2 black guys on trial for a race killing, how about we don't?
I feel like when you say that, you almost do like a big, slow wink to the jury. Like, you get it, right?
As he holds a fake handle of a rope and kind of twists upward. You get it.
You get it. Now, he had to acknowledge, the prosecutor, that his key witness, Bello, was a, quote, thief, conniver, repulsive, and disgusting.
Okay.
That's your key witness.
I don't want to be calling me that ever.
He's a conniver and a thief, and so that means he's a liar. And
disgusting.
But you should believe him now.
Yeah.
And also said he was acting to save his own skin when he testified. But he said that doesn't make what he said less true.
Right.
He said that Carter and Artis knew that Bello could identify them and that the only way Bello could protect himself was to put the killers away before they put him 6 feet under. So now you've just, with no evidence whatsoever, you've just posited to the jury that not only did they go in this bar, massacre everybody, but then they planned to silence a witness by murdering him when no one ever mentioned that, and that never came up once, and there's literally less than no evidence for that. But you're going to put that in the jury.
Solid.
That's, wow. Oh, my God. He also said about the revenge motive, he said, the facts are hideous, but so are the murders. The motive is repulsive, but so are the murders.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, the defense was challenging the honesty of the Passaic County detective, Vincent DeSimone. He said DeSimone had been the architect of the racial revenge theory for the murders, and that DeSimone looked away from the evidence. He says there was no robbery in the bar, but the register was open and there was cash on the floor. That's what the guy says. So he goes, that would say it's probably not a racial revenge if they're like, I'll steal while we're here. But the defense said you have no evidence except in the mind of Chief DeSimone, these were racist killings.
Right.
Yeah. So this has been interesting, though, because some of the witnesses who gave alibis for Carter at the first trial retracted that in this trial. So, like, some of the stuff that was in their favor, there was also stuff that was against them for this time. Yeah. So it seems like it's still the same amount of evidence on both sides here, but not a lot of evidence. And everything is based on the identification of a complete liar and scumbag, obviously. So Artis's attorney, Louis Steele, said the jury was being asked to speculate in areas where the prosecution did not supply evidence.
Right.
They're like, that Bello had to tell on them or else he was going to end up dead. Based on what? What the fuck are we talking?
Yeah.
What are we talking about here? He pointed out that there were no police reports on the distinctive taillights that had led police to stop the car.
The butterflies.
The butterflies. Yeah. Yep, because I was going to say, remember the butterflies? The butterfly effect here. He also noted that the two witnesses near the murder scene had described two different sets of suspects leaving the bar. Steele claimed that a staggering number of state witnesses would have to lie for you to get to where the prosecution wants you to get. Steele also said that Artis had been held in the police station for 17 hours after the slayings, which
Jesus.
Nowadays, if they interrogate someone past like 6-7 hours, it's garbage, basically. It might get thrown out, and they know that. They know that they have a limited amount of time. You can't just keep him there for 2 days and be like, he'll crack eventually. He said if he were guilty, then they would have had a statement out of him that night, signed, sealed, and delivered. 17 hours would break somebody.
It should, yeah.
So, this is interesting here. So 9 hours of deliberation the jury does, which seems like you'd need more than that, but okay. And they find Rubin Hurricane Carter and John Artis guilty of 3 counts of murder again.
Wow.
I don't know how that's fucking... How?
What?
I don't get... we don't know what happened, obviously, but based on this trial, how do you take Bello at his word and say, well, that guy, I'm sure, was telling the truth?
How do you... There's no evidence that they were there.
That's the other problem. There's no evidence that they were there for that. There's no evidence they had any reason to do that.
Yeah.
And I feel like...
Is there any evidence that they were even inside the establishment? None, right?
And I think they stopped there at one point, didn't they? But they left.
I thought they were stopped outside there by police.
No. Police got them later.
Oh,
police pulled them over later because they had gone to a couple different spots. So this is 8 men, 4 women found them both guilty, which is just fucking incredible. They said obviously they're going to appeal these convictions again because this is crazy.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's kind of fucking silly. Interesting here. Carter they said he removed some money from his wallet and handed the wallet to a relative in the second row. Mm-hmm. Both defendants spent a few minutes shaking hands with their family and doing all that shit. Artis left carrying a Christmas stocking, which had been handed to him moments before the verdict was announced. Oh, Jesus Christ. I hope it's nothing he can use on the outside. I hope this is full of ramen noodles and fucking ramen
Bars
noodles
and soap and
shanks I can make or something. He said, you be careful driving home to somebody in his family. And that was it. They went back there and this is wild. I don't get it.
I don't know what they heard, or I don't know. I'd love to know who talked who into what in that jury room, because that's crazy. Who said what?
Apparently,
to make them. They had to, right?
Somebody, I don't know, man. And it's weird because they said that the vibe in the courtroom for the last few days was it felt the defense felt like it wasn't going for them. It just felt like, there's a vibe in a trial. It's a room full of people. You can have a vibe of a room full of people. And Carter's lawyer said that Carter said he had been very pessimistic about the verdict the last few days. Like he thought this was going to happen. Steele said that Artis told him that he fought a good fight and had done the best he could. And he said his client wanted to be tried with Carter and not separately if they get another retrial. And during this one. So the lawyer said, I expected a verdict tomorrow. But they came today. They asked the prosecutor, what do you think? And the prosecutor said, they got a very, very, very fair trial. Very, very, very.
Yeah.
No.
When you use the word very that many times, you're an idiot.
You're also a liar. That is also usually a sign of lying. And also you're dumb because you couldn't come up with another word but very. And just say they got an extremely fair trial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the most fair. Possibly the most.
The fairest of all time. So the prosecutor went on to say, in my judgment, the American jury system is the greatest instrument of justice in human creation. The contest between the American jury system and Madison Avenue is no contest. In other words, you can put Bob Dylan and Muhammad Ali and whoever you want out here. The jurors will see through it all.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, Carter's lawyer said the main error in the trial was allowing the prosecution to introduce the racial revenge motive with no evidence whatsoever to that, which is really crazy. He said, I don't think that has changed. I don't think that much has changed in America. It's still easy to make people feel black people will kill white people for race. So they said that they have, I guess they said they're going to try to keep their clients free until sentencing so they can be home for Christmas. Okay. So that's the.
That is fascinating about our judicial system is that you can appeal a guilty, but you can't appeal not guilty.
Yeah, no, there's no way to. Well, that's to protect.
Over.
Yeah, that's protections for people. Sure. I think the government has enough protections in their on their side, you know.
Good enough.
So it's honestly pretty crazy here. Before the verdict came in, Artis says, because they asked him, they call him the forgotten man because this is the Rubin Carter case. They didn't say this is a story of a hurricane and Rubin Carter. This is the story of the hurricane and John Artis and a guy named John Artis. This is the story of the hurricane.
A very important man. Then this dick.
And then some other guy you don't know about who's not important. So he said that I'm defending my life, but I'm not mentioned. It kind of disgusts me, which makes sense.
Talk about me too.
Yep. And also the prosecutor said that he's happy the jury did what they did because the victims were crying out of their graves for justice.
Were they?
Were they? How do you know that, sir?
Lord.
Christmas Eve comes up here, and they're trying to get bail so they can be home for Christmas, and a judge refuses bail for Carter and Artis. So they have to go back to jail. They said there was, quote, no compelling reasons for them to be free while they appealed.
Wow.
December 30th, 1976, 6 days after that, his son is born. That's
is that
nice.
Right?
Yeah, check it out. Here is his wife and son here. And his wife has one of the finest afros I've seen in really ever. It's got to be 8 inches high off from her scalp.
And it's fucking not one awesome. Of those it's not one of those super tight ones either. It's like loose and it looks like if the wind blows, it'll move
like a bush.
Yeah.
That's a good one. So there
like
he is.
Hedge.
His newest son is named Raheem Rubin Carter. So almost a junior. Close, but not quite. Yeah. But does throw his name in there. That's fine. She stated that when they said, how do you feel about the baby being born? His wife said that Rubin Carter's not a murderer. That was his.
That's how I feel about it.
Not a murderer, by the way, just so you know. So sentencing comes around here, and Carter gets to, say his things here, and he says, quote, well, you know what? Let's give them it in their own words here. I'd say we should probably, if he's going to plea for his life here, in their own words, quote, There is not one scintilla of evidence or anyone on the face of this earth that says John Artis or Rubin Carter did murder these people. John Artis and Rubin Carter did not, would not, and could not commit such a crime. In my opinion, we have an animal running loose around here. We were tried because we were black. Okay. That's what he says. Artis addressed the judge briefly as well, told him he'd always been taught to tell the truth, but he said, quote, "But I have learned that the doctrine of due process is not always true. I have been dealt a group of lies, racial prejudices, and racial motivation." Now, in sentencing Artis, the judge noted his exemplary prison record, his work toward a college degree, and he said, "It's not pleasant for me to say that you should spend more time in prison, but I have no alternative. You, sir, may fuck off." This is for Artis. 3 life terms.
What?
Concurrent. Same sentence as the first time.
Okay.
Now, because he's been in so much time served for this, he will be eligible for parole in 1981.
Boy, you're almost done.
Like 4 years from now.
Yeah,
This is really he 4 more years sentence, but it's still you got to spend 4 more fucking years in sentence in prison here. Now, the same time, they sentenced Carter to, "You, sir, may fuck off." 3 life sentences, 2 of them to run concurrent and 1 to be consecutive to that.
Oh my God.
He got the same exact fucking sentence as he got the first time.
Yeah.
So that is pretty fucked up here. Interesting. They criticized, basically, they were criticized, the prosecution afterwards. Carter and Artis both criticized that that Bello was allowed to be a fucking witness and that his word meant anything at all in here. So there you go. So they're both in prison again.
Sure.
And he is for life. I mean, he's going to be in there a long fucking time, Rubin.
Yeah.
The other guy's going to be out in 4 years.
He may be up for parole in 80 or 81, whatever. But then he has to, even if they parole him, he has to start over.
Yeah, totally. So in March of 77, they start talking about what happened to all that money they raised for him.
Yeah.
Because they said the twice convicted murderer Rubin Carter's back in maximum security prison, far from the bright lights and adulating rock concert crowds at Madison Square Garden in the Houston Astrodome. Gone also are the Hurricane Carter T-shirts, bumper stickers, and life-size posters that proclaimed the image of a proud black man victimized by a police frame-up in an era of racial strife. They talk about all this, but they're talking about where the money all went. Basically, now they're trying to do like an accounting of all this, and the New York State Attorney General's office acting on an audit of the foundation made by the Charities Unit of the State Board of Social Welfare began an investigation here, and they said that the Representative Edward Koch, what's his name? Koch, we'll call him Koch here, like Ed Koch. Oh, because it's Ed Koch. It's the soon-to-be mayor of New York, Ed Koch, I believe here.
Okay.
That's why, Edward I. Koch. Yeah, it's Ed Koch. Said that the expenditures for one benefit concert are insulting to one's sensibilities and had asked the IRS to look into the matter, saying basically they spent too much on expenses, that it can't be true. They have to be hiding some money. He also requested the state investigation and said that he'll also draft federal legislation to impose tighter controls over fundraising and to provide for spot checking of the expense record of all charitable organizations. Yeah, that's pretty good. They're referring to the January 25th, 76 Night of the Hurricane benefit in Houston, which had a box office receipts of $339,788.
Wow.
In 1970 fucking 6 money. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
But claimed a net loss of $48,777 after expenses.
Wow, they spent $380,000.
Jesus Christ, to put a fucking show together.
Yeah.
So Ed Koch said, "What arrogance! They list these expenditures, but nobody checks them. Who knows if they really paid out for those expenses? Who knows where that money really went?" The sponsors of the benefits claim that they're the victims of a witch hunt and say they can prove the legitimacy of their expenses.
Good. Well, sounds like the IRS is going to make them.
I think they're going to have to get some receipts, probably. John Webster, the vice president and a director of Freedom for All Forever, said, "I don't feel we have anything to hide. Our purpose went beyond just paying lawyers' fees. It was to call attention to the apparent abuse of civil liberties, and I think we succeeded." But the point of the show is to raise money for someone's defense fund, and you didn't succeed because you got a net loss.
I think we got awareness that everybody's got rights, man.
Yeah.
How did you spend $400,000 to tell everybody we got rights?
Everybody was aware that Bob Dylan was playing tonight. That's what they were aware of, apparently. So they said they talk about his autobiography. The origin of this media campaign came from his autobiography, obviously. So, yeah, this is a problem. So now they're going to look into this. So even then, like even afterwards, now they're in jail, and even all of this shit is. They're also talking about the one in Madison Square Garden as well. And they said it appeared to be a financial success at first. It took in $220,578 in box office receipts, and after expenses netted $108,000. Yeah. But they said that the foundation's troubles may have began when Muhammad Ali walked on stage with long-haired, youthful-looking Eddie Sapir and introduced him to the cheering crowd. Sapir, a municipal judge in New Orleans and a close friend of New Orleans promoter named Clyde Carson, announced that another night of the hurricane would be held in that city's Superdome, and they said the engagement fell through, but they consequently became involved in the promotion of the benefit at the Astrodome, and that's how this all happened. So, April 16th, 1977, with all this going on, let's have another benefit. Why not?
Let's really spend some money.
Let's get it on. 1977 here. Third benefit here for Hurricane. This is fucking great. They say, quote, this concert is legitimate. Anyone can inspect our books. The money will go to purchase transcripts for the appeal. It's hard to see. It's an old newspaper, by the way. Estimated at $15,000 in printing costs.
Okay.
It's a lot. And that's back then. So think about what that would be. Wow.
I don't know. They still got 365 more to spend.
No shit. Carter is indigent now, they said, and his attorneys are threatening to freeze future proceeds because of $370,000 in legal fees at this point. Wow. So far, Muhammad Ali, Richie Havens, and Dick Gregory have agreed to appear at this next fundraiser. And, that's what they're trying to do. So that's hopefully maybe they'll get something out of that. I don't know. So April 27th, 1977, Carter ruled ineligible for appeal by New Jersey judge.
Ineligible.
Yep.
You can't appeal? What?
They said that he's ineligible for state-paid lawyers to appeal their murder convictions.
Oh,
so
he can appeal it on his own if he wants.
If he wants to pay for it, but you can get, like, the state will give you a certain amount of money to hire lawyers, but it's much less than they would normally charge. And there's a group of lawyers usually that they have to do a certain amount of that, and they're in a pool basically, and they get pulled out for that kind of shit. But they're saying that he's ineligible for this. So they said the defendants have not submitted sufficient proof, rejecting arguments that two men are too poor to pay for continued legal representation, even though he owes $370,000 in legal fees already. Right. Which I don't know how they can say that, but they're doing. It's a 6-page opinion, and they said no accounting was offered of royalties Carter received for a book or for money he earned for speaking engagements. So they said the Freedom for All Forever Committee, which the defense attorneys depicted as an independent group unrelated to Carter and Artis, was a successor to the original defense committee that raised thousands of dollars for the two. That's the one with the lady that he allegedly beat up. So they said there's no evidence that the second fund was used for any purpose or persons except for the defense of Carter and Artis. That's the lawyer. The speaking engagements netted $6,900 that was never accounted for also. And Artis's lawyer said, John Artis has no money whatsoever. The ruling was decided on hearsay information that Rubin Carter might have some money. Once again, John Artis is being treated as a non-person, not on his own merits. Like, again, this wasn't a John Artis benefit concert. Like, he's got no fucking money. You can say Rubin has money. He wrote books and all that. John Artis didn't write shit. He's been sitting here. Yeah. So help, basically. And nope, they said you can't have any money. Get fucked.
That poor guy gets lost in the shuffle constantly.
He really does. He is the lost, like, fucking him and his gold shoes are really the saddest thing in here. And there's 3 dead people, but he's like, Him and his gold shoes are really getting fucked over.
He's getting fucked over at every turn. He's a real fucking Eeyore.
At least Rubin had to go through all this and he got a Denzel movie out of it at the end. This motherfucker got nothing.
Yeah.
He got Ugats out of this shit. Who paid him? Who played him in the fucking movie? You know? I bet it wasn't Denzel. I know it wasn't him, but I bet it wasn't
Mekhi Phifer.
Anybody? Yeah. We got Mekhi Phifer. Is that okay?
Mekhi Phifer and his bizarre face.
We got Lorenz Tate. Is that going to work for you? Is that all right? How's that? Oh, we got the guy who played Kane in fucking Menace to Society. We haven't seen him much. What do you think of him?
A few miles from the glass spires of Midtown Atlanta lies the South River Forest. In 2021 and 2022, the woods became a home to activists from all over the country who gathered to stop the nearby construction of a massive new police training facility, nicknamed Cop City.
At approximately 9 o'clock this morning, as law enforcement was moving through various sectors of the property, an individual, without warning, shot a Georgia State Patrol trooper.
This is We Came to the Forest, a story about resistance.
The abolitionist mission isn't done until every prison is empty and shut down.
Love and fellowship.
It was probably the happiest I've ever been in my life.
And the lengths we'll go to protect the things we hold closest to our hearts. Follow We Came to the Forest on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.
Behind the closed doors of government offices and military compounds, there are hidden stories and buried secrets from the darkest corners of history. From covert experiments pushing the boundaries of science to operations so secretive they were barely whispered about. Each week, on Redacted, Declassified Mysteries, we pull back the curtain on these hidden histories. 100% true and verifiable stories that expose the shadowy underbelly of power. Consider Operation Paperclip, where former Nazi scientists were brought to America after World War II, not as prisoners, but as assets to advance U.S. intelligence during the Cold War. These aren't just old conspiracy theories. They're thoroughly investigated accounts that reveal the uncomfortable truths still shaping our world today. The stories are real. The secrets are shocking. Follow Redacted, Declassified Mysteries on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Redacted early and ad-free right now on Wondery Plus.
We got Denzel and Lou Gossett Jr.
What do you think? I know he's a little old, but
he's
still,
a great actor, but he's gonna
pushing
have to
age.
compromise a little.
I get it, but we think the Iron Eagle can pull it off. You know what I mean?
Nobody's going to believe these two guys would ever hang out. That's the point of the story.
That's how it works. They're supposed to be. So, yeah, there's a lot of talk about the funds and who's getting funds and who's not getting funds. And they said that there's aid due to them. They should get aid from public sources. There's all sorts of fighting back and forth of basically whether Rubin and John Artis have any money. So July 2nd, 1977, from the newspaper here, Rubin, Hurricane Carter, and John Artis will have the bill for the appeal of their murder convictions paid for by Passaic County. So after an appeal of the original ruling, now it's okay. They're going to get their shit paid for. So September 6th, 1977, from the newspaper, Carter and Artis, two ways of doing time. One's getting out in 4 years, so he's like
not doing time and then doing time.
Yeah.
That's definitely two ways to do it.
By the time all this appeals shit would go on, he's out anyway. So fuck it. So they said 9 months after they were condemned to life imprisonment for a second time, Artis and Carter are fighting prison drudgery alone in different ways. Here. Last December, jury found them guilty again. They said the two men, who have been separated by prison officials, recently were interviewed. Carter, 40, at Trenton State Prison, and Artis, 30, at Rahway. Forced together by the trial, they have veered down different roads. Carter, who isn't eligible for parole until 1997...
Jesus.
Is convinced, that's 20 years, is convinced a conspiracy by prosecutor, judge, and guards alike is happening to keep him behind bars. Artis, who's eligible to get out in less than 5 years, is less bitter. Yeah, he's like, he said he's come to terms with his imprisonment and speaks of camaraderie with both fellow inmates and guards. He's
having a great time.
He's a short timer. He's fine. There's an end to this. I see a window. Rubin's like, I'm going to be 60 when I get out of here. Help. This sucks.
Ruben's like, what's a window?
Well, yeah, I haven't seen one of those in so fucking long. He said that he believes strongly as strongly as Carter that their trial was unjust, but he just has less expectation of a quick solution. He said, while Carter broods, he's waiting. He said, I realized, this is Carter. Carter said, I realized immediately when the jury walked into the court what their verdict was, because they were so misinformed. They was as hoodwinked, and their complexions were the same complexions as they were 11 years ago.
Oh.
Yeah. He said he's perfectly aware that there were 2 blacks on the jury, unlike his first all-white jury, but he said there weren't no 2 blacks. Bullshit. Those guys, the 2 guys in the jury are like, I'm pretty fucking black. I don't know.
There weren't no 2 blacks.
Are you black? Because I'm black. Are you black? Okay, we're both all right. I thought so. He said there ain't no difference. That's nothing but a front. They were too elderly from another generation of Negro persons. So he was saying they weren't the fight for your rights, black people. They were calm the fuck down.
Get along, black people.
Don't let white people notice you, and they won't hurt. Yeah. Nothing will happen. Type of shit.
Blend into the background, black people.
Yeah. He said they don't even know what they are themselves. Oh. So he is convinced that he was convicted by a racist conspiracy, and that's how it goes. So Carter here. To Carter, the racial revenge theory based on circumstantial evidence is the most galling of the whole thing. Mm-hmm. He says the prosecutor not only used Carolyn Kelly to his advantage, he promoted it too. The woman who said he beat her up, but then they don't know if it's true or not and all that kind of thing. So in this newspaper article, they go on to say Carter is obsessed with his own rhetoric and the details of the trial. He refused to discuss the celebrity fundraisers that ended in financial collapse or the official probing of the lavish spending that siphoned money away from his defense. He says only, I told you I don't feel as though I've been ripped off, meaning those people didn't rip him off. And let's let it go at that, okay? He also refused to discuss his day-to-day activities, his family, or any question that he has regarded as soft, like a softball. Hey, how's everybody doing? Asked how many times he's seen his son, Raheem, who was born 5 days after he went back to prison, he said, quote, that's none of your business. I love that, though. Yeah, what's none of your fucking business? It's not what I'm here to promote. What his fundraising committee is doing is nobody's business either, he said. He said, it's really insignificant how many letters I get. It is insignificant if I can have any personal things in my cell. It is insignificant. All those extraneous things are insignificant. What's significant is, am I here improperly or am I here properly? He's like, all I want to talk about is why the fuck am I in prison? Not, none of this. Well, Rubin likes to eat a breakfast of this and then he works out in the yard. I don't want to hear any of that shit.
Don't waste type space on that shit. Let's just talk about this only.
He says that he refuses, or they say that he refused a work assignment while in prison too.
Oh.
He said, you see, I have a job, a very important job. The issue is, will I stop working on my job, which is my continuous struggle to be free, to work at a job in the institution, which is totally beneficial to the institution and not my welfare? I think that's insane. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's one thing that can, if you're trying to concentrate on your appeal and you have to go like mop floors for 8 hours, you might be like, I'm trying to do my appeal here and I shouldn't even fucking be here. So fuck you.
Right.
I could see the attitude being like that, definitely. He said, I think the public has deserted. They said, do you think the public has deserted you? And he said, I think the public has deserted themselves. I don't know what the hell that means. That's very interesting. He said that he didn't think that anybody covered the retrial fairly. He said, you think you were there covering the trial, but you really wasn't because there was nothing you could do about what was going on there. You was still controlled by the prosecutor and his falsity and his evil lies. They say that Carter stands, of the prison officials say he doesn't hang out with anybody. They said he stands aloof from other prisoners. He just spends hours at the typewriter. That's all he does.
Outsider, yeah.
He's just typing. Yeah. And Carter said, I don't come into contact with guards nor prisoners. I don't have time to be playing games, and therefore I don't allow any of them to play with me, and I don't play with them. So they said that he doesn't cause any trouble. He minds his own business and doesn't cause any trouble, keeps to himself. When asked about the chances for a new trial, he said, quote, "I will get a new trial. I will get a new trial. I will get a new trial that is free from the lies and deceits and the political racism and the police corruption of Passaic County. I will get that. There is no doubt in my mind that I get that." So
he wants it.
He wants it. Yeah. I mean, there's more here about artists, but honestly, poor guy gets no. That's what I mean. So October 20th, 1987, we talk about he's selling this here. Passaic County officials say the transcripts to be used by Rubin Hurricane Carter and John Artis in their appeals of their triple murder will cost about $10,000. They said that the appellate division of the Superior Court approved a system to duplicate the 12,000-page document, which will save the county about $30,000. It's called a Xerox machine. You put it on there, pump it right out.
Yeah.
It's really, yeah.
You can sit on it if you want.
Oh, you can get your ass on there. Mix it in with the court transcripts. It'll be a surprise for Rubin. Hey, is this a secretary's ass? Look at this. So November of 77, still working hard to prove himself injustice victim is the headline from the Jersey Journal newspaper. And they said, cast aside by most who worked to clear him, Hurricane Carter still maintains his innocence despite 2 convictions. He said, "I'm still fighting and fighting hard to get out of here. If I felt for a moment it was hopeless, I'd be out of here in a minute. I would leave." I would leave. I guess kill yourself would be the way to do that. He said, "People ask me if I'm bitter. Sure, I'm bitter. I'm not a madman. I don't have saliva dripping from my mouth. It is intelligent for me to be angry. Damn right I'm angry about what's happened to me." Yeah, if you didn't murder people and you're sitting in jail, I'd be mad too.
Don't say it like that, because that's what Kemper said.
That's
almost the same thing.
That is exactly true. That is exactly, except we had a lot more evidence against Kemper. Yeah. He also, they said that he's been asserting his innocence by refusing to work and refusing to wear a uniform in prison.
What's he want to wear?
Just street clothes, I guess. Just jeans and a T-shirt. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. Yeah. He said, "My work is to get me out of jail. It would be totally insane for me to help my keepers. There's nothing in here that could possibly be beneficial to me." Yeah, I would say so. I agree with that. Fucking, yeah. That was, that's something. So December 22nd, 1977, planning another round here is the Philadelphia Inquirer's headline. And they're talking about, all he's talking about is appeals. And basically, Artis just gave up on appeals. He's like, fuck it.
He quit.
I'm cool.
Yeah.
I'll be out in a few. I'm cool. If I'm just cool and I try to, he's playing it like, if I just go along to get along, I'll have a better chance with the parole board in 81. So fuck it. I'll just be cool about the whole thing. But Rubin's seeking a retrial in mid-78 here. They're appealing their conviction anyway. Obviously, Artis is appealing too. But in a motion filed in the appellate court, Carter and Artis said the prosecution misled a lie detector expert about the testimony given by Alfred Bello, the government's key witness here. So Bello, who said obviously he was standing lookout, they're talking about him. In their appeal, defense attorneys maintain the prosecution misled Leonard Harrelson, a polygraph expert from Chicago, who administered a lie detector test to Bello in August 76. So that's the later lie detector test. Their appeal, July 7th, 1978, it's called a mini appeal by Carter and Artis to have their convictions overturned, has been denied. Okay. It's not the formal official appeal, which the attorneys are expected to file in October. But I guess this, I don't know, I've never heard of this before. A mini appeal? This is a very weird thing here. Don't look at me. It's fucking weird. Okay, I don't understand it. So they said defense attorneys will ask for the court for a hearing on the matter, but still intended to file a more encompassing appeal in October. Artis's attorney, Steele, said that he did not receive the ruling until about a week ago, saying that this was denied. He said the defense wanted to respond to the state's brief, but before it could do so, the court ruled on the motion. So they didn't even have a chance to do anything. Yeah. July 31st, 1978, the NAACP gets involved in the case here. Yeah, they are taking over the appeal. Basically, it's going to be under their legal wing now. because the judicial process has been racially infected, officials said.
Oh, boy.
Nathaniel Jones, the general counsel for the NAACP, said in a statement that the association is concerned that the New Jersey judicial system is not adequately addressing itself to the racial dynamics clearly manifested in this case.
Right.
He also said, such is reflected in the recent refusal of the Appellate Division of New Jersey courts to even consider a motion addressing itself to serious prosecutorial impropriety in the most recent trial of Carter and Artis. It is wild, some of the evidence they let in there. I will say that's.
Is it really evidence, though? I mean,
it's just, well, if it's presented before a jury, then it's evidence.
Yeah, I guess it is. Yeah.
So the shit really... they let in isn't really evidence. Yeah. He's still doing this, by the way. Hurricane 78, mid 78. He's still fighting. He says, I'm a fighter by conviction as well as by profession.
Yeah.
He said, I've suffered defeats, but I've never been defeated.
Okay.
He said, I'm not a criminal, nor am I a martyr. All my time is spent working on the appeal. All my time is spent working to be free. I try to keep myself far enough away from the criminality of the mind. I must not be contaminated by what is here. That's why he doesn't befriend other inmates.
Okay.
So I can't be distracted.
Right.
Wow. He said, what has come between my wife and myself is not another woman or another man, but the state of New Jersey, because he said him and his wife are having problems.
I'm cheating on her with the whole state.
With the whole state. Well, the state's banging her, I think, is what he's saying.
Yeah, well,
my wife,
both of them, really.
He said, my wife it's an Eiffel Tower situation, reverse. He said that my wife is a strong woman, but they have beaten her down. While she has perhaps given up, I have not. Mm-hmm. So they said, do you pray? Are you into religion? And he said, I believe that my commitment for freedom and for a more humane society does not require my agreement to a theological or metaphysical creed. Said organized religion has no place in his life. Don't have time for that shit.
How about that? It's very rare that they turn their back on religion behind bars.
Don't have time. Jesus is a bad typist. And
his words per minute I
gotta get my type going. So
I got a lot of appeals to file, a lot of paperwork, and
it's how it works, man.
Jesus is a hunt and peck kind of guy.
He's not really good at it. He's not a technology guy, and I understand that, but I don't have time for it. He said that we will win. The question is, when will we win? We have been trying to win for the past 12 years. And they say, despite his optimism, he's reluctant to discuss what his future plans might include. He says, of course, I just don't want to live for today. I want to cross the bridge before I come to it. Or I don't want to cross the bridge before I come to it either. So
you can't.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. So they file his papers for an appeal here. January, they schedule it for January 29th as the appeal here. Now, January 30th, the judge decides he may hold a hearing. I guess jury misconduct was claimed during the trial. That's what they're doing. A hearing's being held in federal court to decide whether to the court should probe deeper into the allegations of jury misconduct during the trial. U.S. District Judge Herbert J. Stern has to decide whether to order an evidentiary hearing to study the allegations made by an alternate juror on the 16-member panel. He also must decide whether to release the pair from prison during the course of their appeal. So that's a big difference. Do we know what the
misconduct was?
I think that's what the hearing is to find out. That they said they're seeking to overturn the convictions on the basis of a statement made by the alternate juror who said the panel was tainted by racist remarks and a preconceived belief that they were guilty. I guess the judge unsealed court papers that outlined alleged improprieties during the retrial. So that's fucking interesting. February 22nd, 1979, they charge racism in their appeal. That's the whole appeal, is they said that one or more of the jurors at the 1976 retrial received information that the defendants allegedly failed a lie detector test after the crime. That information is alleged was improperly leaked and tainted the jury's verdict. It's also not true.
Right.
Yeah.
There's that. Yeah, but also those aren't allowed in court.
No, and any mention of them isn't. And they passed lie detector tests, if I recall correctly, didn't they? So They said the jury unconstitutionally was infected with racial prejudice. Court attendants regarding the sequestered jury committed misconduct, and certain jurors violated their oath. They said the state's racial revenge motive for the slayings improperly was admitted into evidence. The prosecutor's office obviously argued that. They said that the state's key witness, Alfred Bello, shouldn't have been allowed to testify. Prosecutorial misconduct infected the entire proceedings, and the state deliberately misled the defense regarding the racial revenge theory. The state introduced false alibi witnesses by invading the privacy of the defendant's mail and by coercing witnesses to testify against them to rebut their alibis. They said there was a massive prejudicial and pretrial publicity leaked in some instances by the prosecutor's office. Now, the pretrial publicity is also part your fault. You're holding Madison Square Garden shows with fucking every famous person you ever met. So the publicity goes on both sides. That can work well for you, too. Said the defendant's right to a speedy trial was violated. The denial of public funds to finance defense efforts thwarted the New York lawyers from effectively representing their clients as well. And the verdict was contrary to the weight of the evidence as well. The appeal, which at one point cites Romeo and Juliet to establish one of its many points. I don't know how the fuck they fit into this, but they said they abused and insulted the defense witnesses, including journalists who investigated the case. The attorneys referred to the trial as a classic case of American injustice, and they referred to Bello as a despicable liar and a professional criminal who, by his own admission, was willing to tell any story for a price, which he did say that. March of 1979, Artis is like looking at his watch here, going, honestly,
listening for that
guys,
alarm. Yeah.
I'm okay. He's like, I'm trying to get to like a certain goal, like muscle mass between by the time I get out, and this is just fucking out my workout program. Like, I got to be here every day.
500 push-ups. I got to be around 1,000.
Got to do that. I'm working my way up. The judge interrogates the jurors from the second trial on racial prejudice.
Yeah.
Is what they're doing. In closed chambers, Judge Bruno Leopizzi of Passaic County questioned 12 regular jurors and four alternates here. Yeah. Present during questioning were the prosecutor and the defense lawyers as well. They said none of the jurors questioned up until midday substantiated the fellow jurors' allegations that the jury had made racial slurs against the pair. The questioning was ordered, obviously, to see if that was fucking a thing. There's also in one statement here, Adamo of Union City said juror Guy Aliaro told fellow jurors that he heard from his wife that Carter flunked a lie detector test shortly after the murders. So that's
how did you hear that?
My wife told me this, and which is not supposed to be discussing the case with your relatives.
Yeah.
And number one. And number two, you can't tell the jurors just outside shit that's crazy. That's crazy. They said Adamo, who believes the pair were guilty, also told Leopizzi that 2 Hudson County sheriff's officers made racial slurs about Carter and Artis within earshot of jurors. The judge presided over the second trial at the courthouse here. Because of the pretrial publicity, the jurors were selected from Hudson County and sequestered, but apparently could still talk to their wives. So,
yeah.
March 22nd, 79, the state is investigating whether the man who helped reopen the Rubin Hurricane Carter murder case was offered bribes did offer bribes to the state's key witness, perjured himself at a retrial, and profited improperly from Carter's autobiography. So, the Deputy Attorney General here is confirming that the state's corruption unit is exploring the role of Fred Hogan, a senior investigator for the State Public Advocate's Office, during the retrial. Mm-hmm. Hogan and 2 reporters obtained a statement in which key witnesses recanted this testimony that led to the triple murder conviction. The 2 were convicted in the retrial, okay, but they're appealing that. Sources said the corruption unit's also studying whether Hogan perjured himself in testimony about his dealings with Bello. Mm-hmm. The inquiry is based on a 2-year-old memo in which Passaic County prosecutor Burl Ives, that cracks me up, Burl Ives Humphreys, criticized Hogan, Rabb, Levinson, and other connected with the retrial, including Raymond Brown, Carter's lawyer at the original trial, but concluded that only Hogan could be legitimately prosecuted. Hogan said, if they want to reinvestigate me, that's okay. It took them 2 years to come to the conclusion and finalize this. I don't believe it. So they're saying he was getting fucked over by many avenues, including this guy. This is March of 79. Passaic freeholders sue for transcript reimbursement. Okay. They said that they filed suit to force the state's Office of the Public Defender to reimburse them $29,061 to supply Carter and Artis with transcripts from the trial. Wow. They claim the state statute places the cost of transcripts within the state agency. So they're arguing about whether it's county or state is going to pay for fucking transcripts. So in the jury hearing, they're charging bias, obviously. Here, they're talking all about this shit. They said that Steele, who was Artis' attorney, wrote that the assistant Passaic County prosecutor, Ronald Marmo, made innuendos during the hearings that Adamo had been bribed to make the allegations. That's the juror that we're talking about here. Within the first half hour of the proceedings, Marmo was speculating, what if Adamo was paid off to make those allegations? The affidavit claimed Leah Pizzi, the judge, without any evidentiary basis whatsoever, began to operate on the same conceptions which permeated Assistant Prosecutor Marmo's opening statements. Steele cited an incident in the courtroom during which Marmo remarked that the defense attorneys looked at one another and nodded. Okay. The affidavit said that Marmo used these actions to conclude the defense attorneys were withholding information from the court. When the attorneys objected to the interference, the court responded by indicating its concurrence in the accusation. I believe him. I'm on his side. They said this prompted the defense attorneys to ask the judge to disqualify himself. In letters recently obtained by the News, Adamo accused Leah Pizzi of being prejudiced against him. He said, "You question me in a rather hostile manner. In fact, it could be considered nothing short of cross-examination. In view of the fact that I will subject myself to a polygraph or sodium pentothal or anything short of the rack, this testing of my credibility appears to be so much posturing. At best, it is silly and at worst, hypocritical." A day later, he wrote back to the judge saying this time he would appear voluntarily only once more. He said, "At this voluntary appearance, I will only answer questions directly related to the allegations made with reference to jurors who were ultimately involved in the verdict. I fail to see how further questioning along these lines of my credibility can be for any other purpose than to harass and embarrass me or attempt to refute and impugn my testimony by inference and innuendo." He's saying that the jurors are doing all this, and the judge is concurring with the state's attorney, going basically like, "Yeah, he's a liar, right? Yeah, I'm sure he. What if he got paid?" They're making the whole trial not about what he's saying and taking that as, sworn testimony.
Sure, yeah.
It's all about, well, I'm sure he's a liar, which is a weird thing because normally jurors don't, they don't really have a say in them, like a horse in the race. So they don't usually come out lying after a trial trying to.
Yeah, the jury lying? It's not.
It's very fucking weird. Adamo also wrote that I reiterate here that I've never been offered anything by anyone for my testimony, save legal counsel should I wish it. Lawyers have, offered to. Yeah. Adamo made allegations last October that 2 jurors used an Italian euphemism when referring to blacks. I bet I know what that was. I bet I know what that fucking Italian euphemism was. I guarantee I know exactly what it was. That's hilarious. I've heard that a few times growing up. Yeah. Wow.
Oh, Parmesan.
Yep. I'm sure that's what it was.
Christ. Why would they do that?
And that a jury guard told jurors during dinner that, quote, "those bastards," meaning Carter and Artis, will be found innocent on a technicality. And that another juror mentioned his wife told him about the failed lie detector. That is a wild fucking scene, man.
Why would he? They're just gossiping now.
Wow, this jury really turned into a mess here. So they said that their lawyers, Artis and Carter's lawyers, contacted this week, also said they could not comment because the proceedings were secret. These secret documents also indicate that Leah Pizzi has refused to call the woman who originally interviewed the jurors and discovered Adamo's allegations. Her testimony would be tainted on behalf of the defense, Leah Pizzi wrote, so he would not call her. The defense attorneys objected to that, and Leah Pizzi told him to eat dicks, basically. Right. He doesn't seem like he's real unbiased, this Leah Pizzi guy here. But if you're upset about that, you need to unwind a little bit. We have something for you. If you happen to be in New Jersey in April of 1979, head over to the, quote, exclusive New Jersey showing, The Girls You'll Go Home to Dream About. And it's a porn movie at the Wayne Mall Adult Theater. The mall has an adult theater. That's awesome.
Come on in for your spank bank material.
Yeah, to take the girls you'll dream about. Take your hard dick home and whack it is what they're telling you. And it's called Teeny Buns.
Oh, no.
And teeny is Teeny, like teenage buns.
Like a teen, yep.
Yeah, Introducing Judy Harris, Phyllis Wolfe, and Kathy Kane, with a special appearance by Donna. Oh, Donna will be there sucking dicks.
In
quotes. Donna. Like we thought that was her real name. Oh, Donna. You mean?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I guess it says, too, you can start getting in at 11:45 a.m. So you can
Good God. Early wax.
You can drain yourself a jizz by 2 in the afternoon in this fucking place. Not
Drain
bad.
your balls by noon and go get lunch.
That's
the food court.
At the old food court there. Oh,
Have
man.
a wank and in an orange Julius.
A wank and a Julius. That's what you want. So their appeal is heard in May of 1979.
Yeah.
And they're questioning the lie detector test. They said at one of these hearings, 2 defense attorneys, Bell, Dock, and Steele, contended the prosecution withheld evidence about Bello. Steele charged that Bello wouldn't have identified Artist as one of the killers if the state hadn't shown him several photographs of Artist. Mm-hmm. They said that he was educated to identify Artist. Yeah, if you show him the same guy 7 times, you go, man, I guess it's that guy.
Yeah.
Well, it's just your brain recognizes patterns.
Right. At that point, your brain is just remembering a face. And then, I've seen that face before.
And Bello, based on the fact that he was acting as a robbery lookout and also stole money from the bar, is definitely trying to cooperate with police as much as possible.
To catch this guy.
If he sees the same picture 7 times, his brain's going to go, they want me to pick that guy. It's that guy.
Or
Gold
he's
shoes.
stupid and he's just in his mind connecting who he's seen. And you know what I mean? I've seen that guy more than once in my life, whether it was in the last 20 minutes or not. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Totally. So, wow. The lawyers say that they question the results of a lie detector test that the state gave Bello in 1976 to verify his 1974 recantation. The lie detector test, the state said, verified that Bello was telling the truth when he testified during the 1967 trial that he had seen Carter and Artist leaving the bar. The 2 attorneys say the state misrepresented the results of the lie detector test to them, the attorneys. So at the conclusion of the hearing, the appellate judges said they planned another hearing. So it's all about hearings. June 1st, 1979, they lose their bid for freedom here.
What?
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. We're going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles.
A big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud.
Sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
Have you ever gotten a message out of the blue? Maybe you ignore them. Or maybe you end up in conversation. Maybe they tell you about an amazing offer. I can really show you how to make some money. And maybe that gets you into a lot of trouble. But this isn't a story about people like you, the people receiving these messages. This is a story about the people behind the messages, on the other end of the line. Thousands of them, working in a microcity built for scammers. From Wondery, the makers of Dr. Death and Kill List, comes Scam Factory, a new series about survival at the expense of others. Follow Scam Factory on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Scam Factory early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts.
He was hip-hop's biggest mogul, the man who redefined fame, fortune, and the music industry.
The first male rapper to be honored on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Sean Diddy Combs.
Diddy built an empire and lived a life most people only dream about.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up. But just as quickly as his empire rose, it came crashing down.
Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution.
I was up. I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. I'm disgusted. I'm so sorry.
Until you're wearing an orange jumpsuit, it's not real. Now it's real.
From his meteoric rise to his shocking fall from grace, from law and crime, this is the rise and fall of Diddy. Listen to the rise and fall of Diddy exclusively with Wondery Plus.
Yep. Leah Pizzi, the same fucking judge, who apparently hates everybody, who presided at the retrial, dismissed an alternate juror's contention that the jury was prejudiced by racial remarks and a preconceived belief that the defendants were guilty of murdering these people. They found no evidence that the retrial was tainted by this at all and said, nope, go fuck yourself. Okay. Great headline here, June 28th, 1979, the Herald News. Carter stresses, and then in quotes, taint. So he's stressing his taint, which is terrific.
Poor bastard. Yeah.
Yeah. He said that it should be overturned because the jury was tainted. He keeps saying tainted, 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 tainted. Yeah. He said, is it right for our system to allow a juror who uses slang terms about blacks to reach a guilty verdict? Our system will not allow that, is what he said. It's ridiculous. This is bullshit. He goes on to say that one juror, now they say what it is, one juror in joking with guards referred to blacks as, it's the Italian word that means eggplant. If you knew.
It's an M word.
Yeah, it's an M word. He said, referring to the racial remarks, Beldock said that it shows callousness, a lack of sensitivity, and a lack of responsibility for a juror. And he said, you let a juror use those words and we no longer have a fair trial.
Did he at least have the common decency to say the whole word, or did he just do the...
Yeah, the shorten it up there.
Did he shorten it or go the full length? You know what I mean?
We don't know. He said, who knows? He said it's more a fact that a word is said does not mean there is taint. That
word has been tainted.
It's been tainted. All sorts of tainted. So the county will pay for the transcripts, by the way. It's decided, not the state.
Okay.
And so that's excellent, terrific. And also right underneath that, a school will install a new septic system for $15,000 because apparently, quote, 10 years of stench at Memorial School may be over. School board officials say the school's new septic system has been installed and appears to be working well. Well, that's
great.
Terrific. Yeah, apparently that some parents had complained that the smell from the leaking system was so bad that children were unable to eat.
Golly.
Just smells like shit.
Yeah, like a full grease trap.
Oh, God. March 18th, 1980. Carter and Artis get top court review. Again, Artis is like, tick, 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 motherfucker.
If you let me free a minute before this fucking thing is up, I'll be furious.
Yeah, I was all had it set to wait out. You know what I mean? So Steele, Artis' attorney, said, we're very encouraged that the Supreme Court sees that this case merits an appellate review. We have been saying all along the issues we have raised warranted review by a higher court. My client is most pleased that we're getting this chance. So I believe this is the state Supreme Court is where we're going here. He said that Beldock, Carter's attorney, said, of course, I'm delighted with the decision. We've argued constantly the prosecution's case needs to be appealed to the higher court here. So that's what they're going to do. And here it goes. High Court hears new Carter Artis appeal in September of 1980. So the New Jersey Supreme Court hears from the lawyers. In 1975, the Supreme Court set aside the first murder conviction, and then they had the retrial. So this court, they've had better luck with, obviously, here. Now, they said the lawyers are saying that the pair argued that the state had commissioned the lie detector test thing, the racial things with the jury. It's the same exact appeal they just did, except with a higher court, basically, without the judge who ruled over it the first time. It's so weird to have a judge who ruled over a case be the same judge who handles the appeal of that case.
Yeah, he shouldn't be able to be like, yeah, let's look at my handiwork.
That's what I mean. I'm going to then judge my handiwork, and if so, I'll publicly tell everybody, I guess I fucked that one up. No, that's not going to happen.
Right. That's like an IRS audit agent going back to re-audit their own audit.
Yeah, of their own taxes.
Yeah.
So it makes no fucking sense. I don't know why that's allowed, because obviously clearly they have a preconceived something. Yeah,
there's
it's
a conflict of interest, like crazy.
Especially if you're saying the judge wasn't fair about something. He's going to sit back and go, I looked at it very closely, and I decided I am fair.
I've decided I'm as fair as it gets.
I decided I'm super fucking fair. So they said that it was a combination of personal revenge to avenge a friend's father and had racial overtones. That's what the state is saying here, apparently. And the Chief Justice here appeared skeptical about references by the prosecution to Patterson's general racial tension. At one point near the end of the hearing, he asked Ronald G. Marmo, the trial section chief for the prosecutor's office, "What are you trying to prove about the murder? To show that the community was outraged?" Like, I don't get what the murder of one person has to do with the murder of another if they weren't like real connected. Like,
and was it just one murder that they're seeking? Right. There's to avenge one man or one murder. We don't know. Male
kill them
female,
all.
Right.
Shoot a woman in the pussy. Also,
right.
That'll do it.
Several times
with a shotgun. Marmo replied that by themselves the references would be prejudicial, but with all the other evidence, they help prove the racial revenge theory. So the Supreme Court justice said, I don't know where it fits in at this point. This doesn't make sense. You got a square peg, my friend. Artis' attorney said that Bello should not have been able to testify and complained that the half hour after the murders, police picked up Carter and Artis in Carter's car, brought them to the scene. This suggested that to Bello that they were the people that he should identify because he knew that they had gotten picked up. So there was police testimony at the trial that 10 minutes after the shooting, Carter and Artis were stopped by police blocks away. And obviously there was a third man, Royster, who they'd been drinking with, that we talked about. And so they said Steele said that except for Bello's tainted identification, the evidence was no stronger against Artis than it was against Royster.
Right.
Exactly. They said Royster was ruled out as a suspect because he was hopelessly drunk when the car was stopped and because he didn't fit the description given by Bello.
Yeah, and there was only two by Bello.
Yeah. November 21st, 1980, Artis' public defender is barred.
Oh, no.
Yes, saying that he did not think convicted murderer John Artis should have the luxury of both a private attorney and one paid for by the taxpayers. A judge refused to hear a petition Thursday by a public defender on Artis' behalf. He said, you don't have standing to even say this. You can't be his lawyer.
Right.
That's fucking very interesting. January 31st, 1981, early release is sought. Yeah. John Artis is suffering from a, quote, potentially life-threatening disease and should be released from prison so he can receive medical treatment, his attorney says. He's suffering from Berger's disease, Buerger disease.
Is that Berger's?
I don't know if it's Berger or Berger or whatever it is, which can cause gangrene in the limbs. Yikes.
My God.
That doesn't sound... This is a fucking disease that happens? Something else to be terrified about. Great.
Your arms and legs just go septic?
I'm never going to sleep again.
With no cut or...
Wow.
What?
It needs an extensive program of physical therapy to restore any possible effective use of his limbs. Holy Jesus Christ. Wow. Both men will be eligible for parole in September or October, somebody says, but I don't think Rubin's not eligible yet.
Right.
Artis has lost 4 toes and one finger in surgical amputations since May of 1978.
The man's a leper.
And shit's falling off him left and right because of the rare circulatory disease which he contracted while in prison. I'm sure it's some kind of hepatitis type fucking...
some shit bloodborne disease.
In the hepatitis family, I'm sure.
Right.
Some dirt in your blood, super staph infection that makes your fucking fingers fall off. Jesus Christ. December 15th, 1981, John Artis will be paroled.
Wow.
Yep, the chairman of the state parole board saying that 2 parole board members met with Artis Friday and slated his release for next week. This person has earned the privilege of returning to society, said one of them. John Artis
digits.
Well, he's definitely not going to be shooting anybody. We know that much.
It's lost pointer fingers, for Christ's sake.
Yeah,
He can't run.
He's going to be definitely can't chase you and can't shoot you. So good luck. He said John Artis is not the same person.
He's down a couple sizes in his shoes, too.
Yeah, that must be convenient. You can wear different size shoes. John Artis is not the same person who stood in that tavern in June of 1976. We wish him well. He said that he hopes his number, 45473, will be retired following his departure. What is this, the NBA? We're going to lift it above the rafters? What the fuck are you talking about?
What are your numbers?
He said, I would like the guys to paint my number on the wall like the Celtics or something and say this number will be retired for all time. He was a former two-sport high school star, he said, so he's into the whole sports thing.
Sure.
Wow, that is fucking hilarious. So he's out minus some parts. He weighs a little less, but he's out.
Left a few behind bars.
Yep, but his convictions, 1982, the convictions are upheld for Rubin Carter and for John Artis.
Unbelievable, man.
New Jersey Supreme Court upheld the murder convictions for them. 4-3 opinion.
Uh-oh.
Wow, that is wild. They wrote that the jury could and did reasonably arrive to the conclusion that they reached, basically. They said that their legal battles became the subject of the hit song The Hurricane. They said, we are convinced that the case was contaminated by prosecutorial misconduct. That's still a defense here. And overreaching from the beginning to the end. They said they would ask the U.S. District Court in Newark to review the state conviction. The U.S. Supreme Court had decided after the first trial not to hear the case. But now the original conviction's thrown out, they could try to take it to the U.S. Supreme Court. Okay, I don't know if that's the plan or what here, but that's what's going on. July 3rd, 1985, Rubin loses another appeal. 85 now we're in. Artis is just a head sitting on a stool somewhere at this point. He's just a head just sitting there. He's like, I'll learn to play the flute maybe. I don't know. I got no other options here. I'm pretty fucked with all this shit. So this is a state appeals court Tuesday refused to acquit or grant a third trial to Rubin Carter and John Artis. Artis is out. He's like, I don't give a fuck what you do with it.
Care about any of this.
No, this is the appellate division of the Superior Court in a 3-0 ruling here, rejected the latest appeals that from them. So
unbelievable.
November 8th, 1985, he is close to being freed from prison here, apparently.
Yeah.
A federal judge said it was a flawed by racial prejudice. U.S. District Judge H. Lee Sarakin's decision in Newark yesterday set the groundwork for a procedure that could get Carter released on bail or freed outright if the prosecutor decides not to continue the case. Yes, they said that this is his lawyer, Carter's lawyer. Always there was the hope that we will get to the final day. We hope this is the final day. John Artis obviously was paroled then. Carter would have been eligible for parole around the year 2000 otherwise.
Golly.
Convictions not overturned. His ruling, a writ of habeas corpus, technically does not overturn the conviction of Carter and Artis for the shooting deaths, but it has the same effect as opening up the procedure for his release. So Carter's attorneys were scheduled to appear in Newark at 2 p.m. for the hearing to request the release. The prosecutor's office has 30 days to file an appeal about this, and we'll see what happens here. Carter's response to the ruling said, quote, I was at the prison this is Ed Carter. I was at the prison with Rubin. He said, it's unfortunate that it took all these years before someone has come along and really looked at all the facts and what is true from the beginning, that I have not committed a crime and that my civil rights have been violated many times. Ed's his cousin, by the way. Yeah. And he said he asked me to come and get him yesterday. I guess he thought he was getting out yesterday, but then there's a delay due to hearings. So Ed said he believes that Rubin's going to come back and live in Patterson if he gets out.
Is that right?
He's going to come right on back home and just do whatever. I guess where the fuck else is he going to go? He's got to live with family. He's got nowhere else to go. The judge found that the prosecution was wanting on two major points: the use of a racial motive theory in the second trial and the withholding of evidence critical to the defense. They also went on to say the evidence of racial motive was too weak to justify the injection of it into trial. It was just an offhanded, maybe that was the reason, and they just were allowed to introduce that as evidence. The judge said, in essence, the prosecution was permitted to argue to the jury that the defendants, who were black, were motivated to murder total strangers solely because they were white. Although racial revenge may indeed be a motive for murder, its highly inflammatory and prejudicial effect upon a jury requires that its existence be supported by sufficient and competent evidence. Yes.
And that's the thing about this. You don't need why, so why try to inject a why that all it is inflammatory as fuck?
Absolutely. It's all ridiculous. The judge also went on to say he was granting the writ mindful that the state can seek a retrial, but hopeful that constitutional considerations will prevail. So let's not, assholes, is what he said. He said that witnesses have changed their accounts of the crime. Some witnesses have died. Others have memories that are now grown hazy over fucking 20 years. So, I mean, you're really going to try this guy again? He's basically laying the groundwork of why they shouldn't try this again as a judge. So that is something. They said a habeas serves, this is the artist's attorney, a habeas corpus serves a real purpose. It doesn't give back the many years they lost in jail, but it gives all of us a ray of hope that maybe the truth will be looked at with a fresh, clean, clear eye. It's a civil action that allows an inmate to apply directly to a federal judge for release. Because it's a civil action, the ruling technically is not considered a reversal of the criminal court's decision, although it has the same effect. So, artists attended the afternoon press conference, carried in by somebody, I guess, under their arm, maybe in a bowling bag. It's probably easier to carry them that way.
In a pot.
Yeah, maybe that's it. That's fucking great. Artist said, "I'm just having a great time." Mm-hmm. He works for a linen company there. He said, "Freedom is a beautiful thing. Normal, natural, taken for granted freedom. It's indescribable. People don't understand it until they lose it." Yeah. That's pretty cool. If the ruling stands, Artist's conviction will be stricken from the record and he will be released from all parole requirements. He then said that he wasn't bitter about his 14 and a half years spent in prison. Wasn't bitter.
What about the disease that you got because
fucking
you were in there? They just unloaded you from a bowling bag, man.
He was just, what the fuck? He was just from like 21 to 35, this guy. He
Not
went
bitter?
He went in a cool 25-year-old with gold shirt, 21-year-old with gold shoes, and came out a fucking torso with no shoes because he had no feet. Wow, that is
Came out
fucked,
not even
man.
being able to fit those shoes anymore.
Fuck, man, that is wild. He then says that artist says, "My name is the most valuable thing I have. It's important because I have a family." That's the whole ball game there. Mm-hmm. And also, this is Carter's lawyer compared their plight to that of political prisoners, saying he dedicated this victory to all the people unjustly convicted. And to them, I say, keep the faith, keep heart, keep fighting for freedom. Mm-hmm. And he said, Rubin's a fighter. He's never given up. He's got fighting strength that's gotten him to this point. So prosecutors, after that, file a petition to the federal appeals court to return Rubin to jail a month after they ordered his release.
Okay.
They want to put him back in jail. They say for almost 30 years, Rubin has presented a profile of violence, dangerousness, and extreme hostility. There is nothing to suggest that this well-entrenched disposition and behavior should be any different now. So we should put him back in prison because for 30 years, he's been kind of a dick. What the fuck?
Dangerous, in my opinion.
How many people are there in the world that have been kind of a dick for 30 years? Jesus fucking Christ. I could name you dozens off the top of my head right now.
Of celebrities. Forget just normal ass
celebrities, politicians, news people. Then just Bill that I know. Yeah, him too. He's a dick too.
There's a kid in my neighborhood, James, that drives a little Mustang, and he drives it super fast in the neighborhood, and he's got new dents in that car all the time.
Fucking asshole.
Lock him up. Mm-hmm. Seen enough of this little bastard.
For 30 years, mind you, lock him up.
For the rest of his life, fuck him.
He didn't, in this quote, he didn't say that, like, I think he's a murderer and he's still guilty of murder. He said that, well, he still shouldn't be out there. Even if he didn't commit this murder, he's just not a safe guy.
Still, fuck him.
Wow, that is fucking amazing. But good news right under that, though. In Iowa, Davenport, Iowa, disc jockey will be back, the headline reads.
Oh, he's coming back.
Disc jockey Jack Daniels will be back. This idiot. This fucking idiot named his, because no radio guys, that's his real name. He's decided he was going to call himself Jack Daniels and did this. He will be back on the air at, this is so fucking funny, this article, at station WLLR after promising not to play Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer over and over and over without permission. Daniels was suspended indefinitely after playing the song 27 times in less than 3.5 hours and continuing to play it after program director Ray Randall told him to stop. That is fucking hilarious. He pulled like the John Mulaney Salt and Pepper Diner trick.
Yeah, running it again.
But on a whole entire city
That's
of
his
audience.
job.
That is amazing. Randall said Wednesday that the Davenport, Iowa station had received hundreds of calls from listeners and that Daniels was allowed to return after the composer and performers of the song also called in support. They were like, no, it's cool. We like it.
He's our best fan.
Oh, my God. Daniels said he decided to play the song to get himself and his listeners in the Christmas spirit.
Oh, it was around Christmas at least.
I mean, yeah, this was December 20th. At least he wasn't playing it in fucking March. That would have been weird. So, January 8th, 1986, Happy New Year to Rubin. State seeks to re-jail Rubin Carter. Just enough, or just, it's over.
We just want to hold him.
The differences between 1966 and 1986 are astronomical.
Yeah.
It's not like now where we go 2024, 2004. Same shit, basically.
Same shit, yeah.
Same shit minus Instagram. That's literally what it is. It's the same shit.
A little worse fashion, but yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Now it's worse fashion. Yeah, terrible.
It's disgusting. It's embarrassing.
66 to 86 is a fucking world of of difference.
Yeah.
They just signed the Civil Rights Act in 66. 66 is like pre-hippies. It's like just when the Woodstock hasn't happened yet.
There's
86,
Toyotas now.
Yeah, by 86, all those people had short hair and fucking like corporate jobs and shit.
Yeah.
Totally different. Toyotas and Hondas roaming the streets.
MTV, for Christ's sake.
Oh, for fuck's sake, yeah. Hurricane could have been on MTV if it came out now. So New Jersey attorneys told federal appeals court yesterday that Rubin Carter remains a danger to the public and should be returned to prison while they appeal the dismissal of his conviction. Wow. That is some balls to put that on paper.
Truly.
Passaic County Assistant Prosecutor Ronald Marmo, our favorite asshole prosecutor, said that after the hour-long hearing before the Third U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals, that the former middleweight boxer is as dangerous as he was in 1970 when he last had a psychiatric examination. So he's saying, okay, put him away because in 1970 he had a psychiatric exam I don't like.
It scared me.
16 years ago.
Yeah.
That exam, Marmo said in an interview, showed Carter to be extremely dangerous, a threat to the community, seething with hostility. Which, if you were in prison for murders you did not commit, you would
be seething. Yeah.
Seething with hostility would be the fucking word. Can you imagine interviewing me in prison for 4 years for some shit I didn't do? Seething with hostility. If he didn't take a swing at the guy and fucking examining him, it's a win. He held it together because I would be losing my shit in there.
If the man that examined him walked out of the room, I wouldn't say he's seething.
No, yeah, exactly. He's not he's holding it together well. I'd say he's got self-control.
He's doing pretty
good
great.
Self-control. Marmo asked the 3-judge panel to order another psychiatric examination for Carter here. He said, quote, "We say he hasn't changed and that he's still the same dangerous person." Carter's attorney said, "What, are you fucking kidding me?" No, that's not what he said, but it should have been what he said.
What he said is, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, this is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life. His attorney said that we trust the prosecutors will be turned down again. Like they constantly get turned down because they suck. And nobody wants to fuck them either. Did we mention that? Little dick guys out there.
Yeah.
Little dick guys. No one will fuck them. One dude drives a really lame car. They suck. Dudes are pussies. Telling you.
Drives a Justy, for Christ's sake.
It's bad. It's bad.
Want it on Hollywood Squares.
I knew 2 people who had Justies.
Really?
Yeah.
You saw one in the wild?
I've ridden in a Justy.
Oh, my God.
Okay. One was my friend's father, and this guy was the saddest man ever. Jimmie. Oh, my God. Okay. The mom drove this big, giant van. Like a big fucking...
like a panel van.
A van.
Yeah.
Yeah, but with windows in it and the captain's chairs and all that shit. A van, right? And then the dad drove a tiny, tiny, shitty Subaru Justy, right? And he would come home, and his kids, all the kids, except there was 3 kids. 2 of them were total juvenile delinquents, and one was like this nerd, whatever.
That makes sense.
It's amazing. And my friend obviously was one of the juvenile delinquents.
Yeah.
And the dad would come home in his Justy, and we'd go, oh, there he is in his Justy. When he'd pull in, we'd laugh our asses off. He looked angry that he was driving it. He'd get out, go inside, sit in his fucking chair, not talk to a soul, never say a word.
Yeah.
Sit in his chair with a box of wine, white wine, perched next to him, and he had a record player, and he put giant headphones on and turned records on and drank wine till he fell asleep in the chair. And then woke up the next morning, got back in the Justy, and started all over. He did it every night.
That's how you gear yourself up for driving a Justy tomorrow.
Yep. That's how you come down from driving a Justy too. I never saw this man eat food. He didn't eat dinner. He just come home and drink till he fell asleep.
Shadow Stevens had a hard time pitching that you just won a Justy on that show.
A Subaru Justy, and people were like, "Really?
A what?"
Can I just get his? Would he want the? Yeah. I'll trade. I don't want the car.
Every car that they gave away on that show was the worst car that manufacturer made.
Like the tiniest tires legally available, that sort of shit.
Chevettes and Justies, as far as the eye can see.
Bad stuff, man. Bad stuff. What
I
were
don't
the other
remember what
ones
else
too?
they gave away. Was there a Dodge Shadow? I'll bet there was.
Fucking Monzas given away in the 70s, and like all that kind of bullshit. Yeah. Yeah, they were giving away like Omnis in the 80s too. Those little Dodge Omnis. Pieces of shit.
Chrysler Fifth Avenue.
Yeah, there we go. With no power features.
Crank windows and no AC.
A good slot for a radio if you want to install one.
It includes velour seats to ensure that your back will be dripping wet when you get out.
Oh, it's going to be wonderful. Thanks a lot, Shadow. Appreciate it. No problem.
Son of a bitch.
I'm Shadow Stevens. Fucking assholes. January 18th, 1986, court denies petition to hold Carter in prison. I hope they yelled at these people, too. I really do. It's a 3-judge panel said that. One of the guys, Judge Leonard I. Garth, said, where the state has expressed no fear that Carter would fail to appear in response to federal process, the state has failed to furnish ground on which a federal court can or should act to reincarcerate this petitioner. Yeah. Because if someone's out on essentially bail, that means it's not a matter of thinking they're guilty, thinking they're not guilty. That just means you think they'll show up for a hearing. Right. And they haven't said a word about the fact that they don't think he'll show up or that he's going to run away.
We just want him in jail because he's dangerous, we think.
Yeah, which is what you adjudicate at trial, not at now. You know what I mean? So
innocent until proven that way.
That's fucking insane. Wow. In November, this is after the other judge had called his 76 trial a travesty. And all that kind of thing. So the prosecutors are getting their dings right now.
Sure.
The last guy had said human decency mandates Carter's release. Yeah. Not even the law, just human decency, for Christ's sake. February 27th, 1986, appeal deadline passes in Carter's case. The prosecutor's office misses the deadline to file an appeal of the decision that set him free.
Wow.
So they have no recourse on it now whatsoever. March 30th, 1986, prosecutor files to reinstate Rubin Carter's murder charges.
Reinstate him.
If you're a taxpayer, are you going, isn't there anything else going on in this county that could possibly be criminal that you should be fucking worrying about? Well, what are we talking about?
That's a distraction from the fact that the police can't solve this fucking thing.
You know what I mean? That's what it is.
They've got nobody else. They've got to charge somebody in this because there's 3 people dead and another shot.
Dude, this is fucking crazy. I don't understand it. But they have no witnesses. The only witnesses they have either admitted to lying or that's what they do for a living.
Right, actual skeletons.
Wow. This is the acting Passaic County prosecutor said Saturday he's confident a federal appeals court will reinstate the triple murder conviction of Rubin Carter. Holy shit. Wow. They said that the decision to set aside his conviction was legally flawed. They said, we're taking the position that we're going to reinstate the conviction. We're arguing that Sorokin, that's the original judge there that found that he could go, found there was constitutional violation and he was wrong. Now, Carter's attorney, or Artis's attorney, said it's been in the courts for 20 years. It's a waste of taxpayers' money that this madness is still going on.
Right.
So, yeah, Artis says the madness is still going on, a waste of taxpayers' money. I couldn't agree with that more. Is there nothing else we can spend tax dollars on here? That's John Artis. That is March 30th, 1986. Then April 21st, 1986, John Artis faces cocaine charges. God damn it.
John.
Which is, again, not murder.
Yeah.
In 1986, there's plenty of people doing coke. And
is he moving it or is he doing it? How's he doing it?
Conspiracy to distribute cocaine.
Somebody just throwing his head into a pile of it?
Yeah, it gets tossed up in the air and he bats it at someone with a stump. That's how it works. So Artis and 11 other suspects have been held without bail since they were arrested in a series of raids.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Prosecutors said there was evidence that Artis had purchased cocaine in Upper Manhattan, that would be Harlem, and made several deliveries to New Jersey.
Sure.
So, yeah, Artis then will admit guilt in a drug ring, Artis and 4 others. A Superior Court judge accepted guilty pleas from John Artis and 4 other individuals involved in this trafficking operation. 13 suspects were indicted on all of this. This was charges of basically running drugs between New York City and Jersey.
Yeah.
All of the defendants have pleaded guilty except for 2 men who have fled the jurisdiction. They took the fuck off.
Yeah.
Which is
it
pretty
new
wild.
that they've been trying people for when people die of drugs? Is that a new thing?
Those are, I know they've done it. They had done it before, but I know there's like newer laws that are specific that they've passed for this because I don't know how okay with that I am, by the way.
Yeah, I've been considering that also. I don't know where I'm at, where I land on that.
I look at like, okay, if someone at their house were pressing their own pills and making their own, I'm putting a little of this and I'm putting a little too much fentanyl and people are dropping dead. Okay.
Yeah.
But if someone gets a bunch of shit from somebody else and then buys that and sells it to someone, that's so unintentional and you know what the other thing is too, there's a super easy way to avoid that is not buying drugs from people and doing them.
Yeah.
You can. I'll never be killed by fucking fentanyl because I don't do fucking powder drugs or pills. So it'll literally never happen to me. So I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
I'll never get me.
And you're buying whatever drugs you are doing from a legal source that is a grow operation that's their main job is to keep the shit clean.
So you'll keep coming back.
Yeah.
But this shit here, I just don't see it. I don't see how it's someone else's problem that Matthew Perry won't stop doing fucking drugs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I get that if someone intentionally knew this was poison and was giving it to people, great. But otherwise...
I mean, the doctors certainly know that it's poison.
The doctors, yes. Michael Jackson's guy?
Yeah, that guy knew.
To prison with you. Yeah. Regular street drug dealers, to charge them with murder seems a little bit...
That's high, right?
It seems a little bit high. Like I said, I feel like Matthew Perry would have licked the drugs out of a leaking injection site out of between someone's toes if he had to get drugs. I know people love Matthew Perry, and they'll be mad I'm saying this, but for fuck's sake, how many fucking decades can you do drugs before you just go, this guy loves to fucking do drugs, period.
Yeah.
Something's bad's going to happen. It's no one's fault but his own.
Right.
That's it.
The other part is like the doctors that sold it to him at insane prices.
Yes.
Because the quote unquote ketamine queen was selling him at like fucking rock bottom as far as I'm concerned prices. She got like 11 grand out of him for like almost 3 times as much as the doctor sold to him for 55 grand.
55 grand, yeah.
They're dirtbags, those guys.
Yeah, I completely fucking agree. Yeah, I don't know, though, about this whole... It's
a fascinating world of, like, I don't know. I guess that's one way to keep the shit from getting onto the streets. But then now you've got drug addicts that are fucking insane for drugs.
Yes. We're in comedy. There's been quite a few incidents in comedy in the last 10 years of comedians ODing, doing coke that had fentanyl in it and fucking ODing. Some of them dying, some of them not dying. It's happened so we've heard about this. We heard about this kind of before the public really got on the edge with this shit. We were hearing about it. And even if I liked coke, I would never fucking do coke now because it's so
all of it's
fucking
fucked. Yeah.
It's so fucked. Yeah. It's so fucked. How we've known so many people. So risks you're taking if you're doing anything other than weed at this point. You know the risks you're taking. But
I'll tell you this though, mad flattering when somebody says, "I'm going to go do coke. Do you want to go?" How cool.
Well, yeah, that's a nice thing.
Look at me. That's so nice.
Yeah, that is nice.
I don't want to, but that is so kind.
That's perfectly okay, but no.
I don't want to die with you tonight on accident. I don't want to be mentioned in an article with you in this bathroom.
No, not even a little bit. So now under the artist, by the way, in the drug matter here, he's pleaded guilty to conspiracy to distribute drugs and possession of a stolen handgun. So apparently a couple of fingers still work.
Not good, yeah.
Under the terms of the plea bargain, he faces a maximum sentence of 6 years in prison. The judge can require that he serve 2 years of the term with no opportunity for parole. Artis said he participated in the operation only once in December 85 when he delivered less than a gram of cocaine to a Hawthorne man and was paid $50.
Okay.
If that's true, not exactly a kingpin here.
Right. We're going to rock him up next to Pablo. Stop.
He said the gun was left in his car by a friend of a friend. Probably just no.
You got to make that excuse when there's drugs and guns involved because they're gonna put you away for 30.
Yeah, exactly. Artis said his decision to plead rather than stand trial. He said it was a shotgun wedding type of thing. Mm-hmm. Like he's got no choice here. Yeah. His co-defendant, Rosemarie Linda Hicks, claimed Artis was her half partner in the venture, which operated from December 85 till April of 86. Jesus, they didn't get a whole lot going on.
50 on half a gram?
Yeah. She's saying he was half in the whole operation, not just in 1 gram. Yeah. She got 25 of that. So it's the 50 he was paid. She got 25. It's rough. So Hendricks said that Artis took her to the site in New York City where the cocaine was purchased. Hendricks said that she and Artis supplied the money for the drugs and split the profits in half. She says she's been a drug addict for the past 25 years and has received treatment since December. She pleaded guilty to conspiracy to distribute drugs and possession of drugs with intent to distribute them, which sounds like the same thing. Right. She faces also 6 years as well. The state alleged that Artis and Hendricks lived together in her house on Ringwood Avenue and ran the cocaine operation with Christine McGahee, who's 44, and the prosecution alleged that the two homes served as bases to sell drugs in Patterson, Hawthorne, Tatua, Bloomingdale, and Wayne in Passaic County, and Teterboro in Bergen County. Okay, and they said that McGahee pleaded guilty in April and was waiting to testify against Artis and Hicks.
Oh.
But now won't have to. And there's a few other people here that pleaded. February 27th, 1988. Wow. Back to Rubin Carter here. The state is seeking a third murder trial against him. Superior Court Judge Ralph V. Martin signs an order dismissing the indictment against Carter and John Artis.
Yeah.
Finally. Abso-fucking-lutely. Carter said, "I'm joyous with the result and deeply satisfied that justice has finally been done and the charges have been dismissed." Fucking finally. Carter has been living in seclusion, they said, and that he would meet with reporters the next week, basically. Wow. Artis also said, "I'm fairly relieved." He said that from a phone in the Northern State Prison on his drug charges, so... He said, "I've spent half my life to fight to bring this matter to an end." Artis said he hasn't spoken with Carter since prosecutors last week announced that they would not seek a third trial in the case, but the two remain friends. Prosecutors said a dismissal of the charges were justified because of the passage of time since the killings, problems finding witnesses, court decisions discrediting previous testimony, and the burden posed by a third prosecution. Basically, what the fuck are you talking about?
Right.
Why would we do this again? In 1989, Rubin leaves the United States.
For what?
Canada.
Okay.
Yep. To be with his newfound friends and family, he said. Mm-hmm. And he eventually became a Canadian citizen as well.
Really?
And was briefly married to one of his supporters who were trying to get him out of jail.
Attaboy.
Yep, not too bad. That's, pretty good for him, I would say. Rubin says that he's happy to be in Canada. When people come to interview him, he says, "Welcome to my home." He's very excited.
Yeah.
They described that he lives in, the small, powerful man waiting and smiling at the top of the curving driveway is like a black diamond set in the paint box colors of a Toronto summer. Clean emerald lawns, flag blue sky, freshly painted white of a country clapboard mansion. "Welcome to my home," Rubin Carter says. Yeah. How the fuck did he get all this money now again?
Good for him, yeah.
Good for him. So they said his zigzag life has taken him to this green and sheltering country estate just outside of Toronto and soon to Canadian citizenship. They said a graceful road winds through thickly covering trees and velvet lawns to the restored 19th century country house he shares with the people who helped clear his name and whose aim is now to lap him in beauty, comfort, and gentleness. What the fuck? Just ensconce the man in beauty. One of his friends said, "We want to give Rubin his life back." And all of them, including his wife, insist on remaining anonymous. They said, "Too many people have tried to piggyback on Rubin's fame. This is his story. We don't want to be identified."
Yeah, but how do you get such a luxurious home when you've spent so much time in prison?
It's other people's houses. They're letting him stay there. Yeah, they said in a deck chair beside their pool, Rubin and his friend T, that's the only thing they'll give it an initial, enjoying the early summer sun, talk of their coming together. The spacious old Ontario house is beautifully renovated, decorated in woods and softly toned velvets, Aubusson rugs, original lithographs, and old master prints. Jesus. In the back, a Jeep Cherokee and late model Mercedes are parked.
What?
Upstairs, yeah, they're doing great over here.
What's going on?
Wow. Upstairs is a word processor on which the hurricane is turning out a second volume of his memoirs. A movie deal has been struck with American producer. We know that.
That's coming.
We need to make some money. It's taken a great deal of money to do the everything we have done, the hurricane says. My teeth alone have cost almost $16,000.
Yeah, I believe that.
Yeah, all those years they were falling out. But $16,000, I do find it hard to justify to myself spending money like that for your teeth while there are people who don't have anything to eat. Well, you won't be able to eat without teeth, so
yeah, and
you'll be
and
joining
now you
them.
Don't have any food either because you put $16,000 in your mouth.
Exactly. And they said too, Rube's teeth were so bad he couldn't even eat. One of his friends said his hair was all falling out. I don't know what that has to do with anything else.
But he got teeth, so now his hair came back.
Yeah, he came on back. Doesn't he look great now, though? Young and healthy? And Carter says, Canadians have been very thoroughly connected with this case. Canadians should be, if they knew, very proud. I'm proud of them. Mm-hmm. They said the big country house is shared by 2 married couples, 3 singles, and some of their children. Rubin's wife is a psychologist and a lively former divorcee in her mid-40s with a grown son. His friend said, we share a community of interest who here, please don't call it a commune. That's such a 60s cliche. No, this is just a bunch of rich people living in a fucking cool big house together. This is way different.
Pretty badass. Yeah, this is like a country club.
This is like Heaven's Gate without the suicide and the fucking science fiction.
Or a high rise in fucking New York City.
Yeah. So 5 of the 7 friends, including the T person and his sister, first threw their lot together in 1970, a Yorkville textile import business called the 5 Believers Batics. How do you not call it a commune or a cult at this point? Believers?
5 Believers?
Several of them came from wealthy backgrounds. T and his sister were children of a Toronto businessman and do-gooder who, with his wife, was interested in third world development and adult education. He said, I went to Upper Canada College, was expected to wind up doing corporate law, living in the right part of town. The group included black and white writers and professionals. They bought a house on a Walmer Road ravine lot, concerned themselves with what might be called a socially conscious projects. Okay? So they went from pollution control, and then they picked up Rubin as their next as their next project, apparently. In 1979, one of them wrote Rubin in prison and said, "I read your book. I think it's a tragedy. I'm coming down with my family, and I'd like to meet you." And, he said there was no calls, no visits, no nothing. His first wife married somebody else, divorced and married somebody else. And, so he also said he was suspecting his wife of contributing to the legal betrayal. He thinks the wife told him something or did some shit.
Him. Yeah.
Yeah. Rubin said, talking about prison, he had withdrawn far from prison reality, far from himself. He said, that was a point in my life when I had decided I need some help. I was getting letters from people all over the world, some asking for autographs, some asking for some ridiculous curiosity thing or other, some asking to come and visit. I would always put these things off. But for some reason, the one guy's letter struck a chord. It spoke to me. There was something about it I could not answer. I had to do it. I could not answer. Yeah. There was no choice. I had to meet. I had to come out of isolation. I had to meet him. It was a magic thing. Okay, so apparently, Rubin says that they brought me out, showed me myself again. His wife now it was a mirror to me. The only way a woman can be for a man. That's a weird thing to say. Wow. That's interesting. They said they started sending in feasts, the tea guy says. Crab meat, chocolate eclairs. We felt we were repaying many years of eating nothing. Then we'd send him Persian carpets, Picasso prints for the walls. It was an interesting, important psychological step for him to be able to accept that. Wow, so fucking weird, man. What a weird group.
I don't even understand why they're doing it.
I don't either. That's what I don't understand. They said
because a man was behind bars for so long, we give him like things that fucking
Picasso's
eccentric billionaires get. Like, what are we talking about?
So fucking weird. They said the next 2.5 years became a bizarre period of luxurious time marking for Rubin, his new wife, and their 2 friends. We decided the only way to live anonymously, 1 black man and 3 whites, was to live rich. I went by the name Robin Wellington. First, we took an $8,000 a month. $8,000 a month Park Avenue apartment. Do you know how much fucking money that is now? What that place would be now?
I mean, Wellington's the right name for a place that lives there.
Yeah, no shit. Fuck, man. But an $8,000 a month Park Avenue apartment would be, I don't even know.
$50,000 today?
Oh, that's just adjusted for inflation, but then the prices in New York are way more. That would be I don't even know what that would be. That would be a, $40 million apartment probably. A Park Avenue apartment. They said then we moved to Bedford, just up the road, which is a very rich area, from the R.J. Reynolds family, just up the road from them.
What?
Yeah, and Ivan Boesky, who was another guy there, a real rich guy. They all just assumed that we belonged there. Yeah, if you have money, they don't care.
R.J. Reynolds is a cigarette fortune?
Yeah.
Those people?
Well, who else? Yeah. They got cancer money, those people.
Yeah.
No shit. They said it wasn't until the January 1988 that the U.S. Supreme Court quashed the New Jersey appeal attempt, and then it was dismissed. And Rubin and the lawyers and believers celebrated in a $2,000 party at the New York Plaza Hotel with Dylan's Hurricane playing joyously on the tape deck.
On loop more than fucking grandma got run over by the reindeer.
Yeah, it's just over and fucking over and over again here. They said for everyone who, like him, made it through, he says, thousands were turning into hamburger.
Okay.
Yeah. Like John Artis, who's still in jail, by the way. Yeah. John Artis is a former Eagle Scout and high school sports hero who had no criminal record when he was picked up with Rubin. That's fucking funny.
And ruined his life.
Yeah, that's fuck, man. So problem is, this all sounds really great, but this there is strict rules in this house too. This is a commune of weird rich people.
Okay.
Essentially, Rubin liked to drink. Is the problem. He still liked to drink and didn't like the rules of the compound, and then instead moved out and moved into a brick house in Toronto's West End where he had a really nice rose garden. That's a fact. Rubin had a rose garden. When he gave up alcohol, he said it was his decision, not theirs. And that, that's how it is. Sure. Carter was chosen to be the executive director of the Association in Defense of the Wrongly Convicted, the Toronto nonprofit foundation here, formed in 1993. They said he dominated the room with a mixture of power and humor and decisiveness. The man with a commanding voice and an infectious laugh forged close bonds with wrongly convicted that he worked to free, a lengthy list that included Guy Paul Morin, David Milgaard, and Stephen Truscott. So 1996, April 14th here. Okay. He was arrested in Toronto. Mistakenly, apparently.
Yeah.
Rubin is, yes. I guess the drug squad detectives arrested Rubin after he left a Toronto restaurant. He was immediately handcuffed, told he was being arrested for selling drugs to an undercover officer, and was put in the back of an unmarked police car. He was held for 30 minutes, though, and then they let him go. Yeah. Apparently, they had the wrong guy.
Right.
He said, this is Rubin, it was like a nightmare. The last time I was told I was under arrest, I didn't see the light of day for 20 years. They said they were conducting a sweep of an area known for drug trafficking and said that Carter was arrested because he matched the description given by an undercover officer who bought drugs from a man in his 30s and had entered the restaurant 20 minutes before Carter left. He's 60, by the way. He's 60 years old.
What a compliment.
Well, that's great. You look great, sir. Martin admitted it was unusual to arrest a 60-year-old when the suspect was supposed to be in his 30s, but he said the discrepancy could partly be explained by Carter's fitness.
And
he thought
amazing
maybe he
teeth.
And he's got great teeth and full head of hair came out of nowhere. Carter said the police acted too quickly, arresting him without asking for identification or anything.
Yeah.
He said that he's upset and he's considering suing the city of Toronto for arresting him.
Because he needs money.
He probably needs money. Also in 1996, he received the Abolition Award from the Death Penalty Focus Group in 1996. So he does that. December 29th, 1999, The Hurricane starring Denzel Washington and the lead role.
That's when it came out?
1999.
Wow.
Yeah, because we looked that up because remember we got the Ving Rhames movie was 2 years later. So it was
I thought it was so much later though.
No.
Even knowing that back 4 weeks ago, I still lock it in my brain that I guess Ali came out in 08, huh?
Yeah, oh, shit.
06, something like that?
06, yeah, that came out in the 2000s, 05, some shit like that.
Yeah.
They said that Carter discussed at a lecture how he fell in love with Washington's portrayal of him during auditions for The Hurricane. You don't want to piss this guy off. During auditions. So I think Carter was in on the whole process.
Yeah, probably.
So that's pretty cool. Noting that boxer Marvelous Marvin Hagler, who I fucking love, great fighter, and actors Wesley Snipes and Samuel L. Jackson also tried for the role. Samuel's
Wesley,
too
I
skinny.
can see. Yeah.
Sam's too skinny for that shit.
Yeah, he's not a boxer.
He's not a boxer.
And he's tall, isn't he?
He's not a middleweight boxer.
Right.
It's not going to work.
Snipes would have been great, and Snipes needed money back then, too. He had fucking IRS problems like crazy.
He had IRS problems. But we know he can play an athlete because he's a terrible baseball player, and he was great in Major League. Do you know
basketball player, too, and he did great in White Men Can't Jump.
Yeah, they said he was terrible. Yeah. Wesley, by the way, if you watch fucking Major League, watch in all the baseball scenes, you'll never see him throw a ball.
Really?
He throws like a girl, they said. He threw horribly, and he never got any better at it. So they said every time like he goes to throw, you'll see like as his arm cocks back, they'll cut away to where it's going because they can't show him throwing because it looks so bad. They said it was funny. Immediately not a Major League Baseball player when you see that. Like he can run like one and stand there with a bat like one.
Great
but
abs
throwing,
like one.
You can either throw or you can't. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. And he couldn't.
Very funny.
So for his performance as Carter, Washington won the Golden Globe Award for Best Actor there. He was also nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actor and didn't win here.
Who beat him in 99? Probably Leo.
In 99.
Oh, no, Leo didn't win one for a long time.
No.
Yeah.
No, especially if not for Titanic
99?
was 97 anyway.
Oh, was it? Yeah, I guess so.
99, no fucking idea. Probably one of those like foreign film people or some shit.
Yeah.
Who knows? The little Italian guy who ran on
tiger, running dragon or whatever.
Yeah, the little Italian dude who ran on the top of the seats to get up to the stage. Remember that guy? That was around that time. I don't know. Maybe that guy. So Joey Giardello sued the film's producers for libel over the depiction of his fight with Carter. The case was settled out of court, and Norman Jewison, the director, agreed to make a statement on the DVD version that Giardello, no doubt, was a great fighter. He said, "You made me look bad."
What?
That's not how the fight went down.
I guess if they
funny.
use his name, then it looks like a documentary.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like that sort of thing. But I mean, it's real. It's fictionalized.
Who the fuck watches any Hollywood movie from a Paramount or a Miramax and goes, this is going to be historically
That's exactly
accurate.
correct. Yeah. And especially, who remembered one of a sea of boxers in a montage of him beating the shit out of people? You know what I mean? No one cares. Oh, that Joey Giardello's sure a loser, isn't he?
Oh, his family probably remembers.
Yeah. So the movie is 7.6 out of 10 on IMDb at the moment here. In 2004, he left his position, Rubin does, as executive director of the Association in Defense of the Wrongly Convicted because he believed it was not strong enough in opposing the appointment of a judge who had prosecuted Guy Morin, who was one of the people he got freed. One guy said he had tremendous obstinacy, but that's what got him through. You can be nothing but glad he had it and admire him for it. So March 10th, 2012, he's now leaving Canada because he found out that he has terminal prostate cancer. Oh, no. Yep, terminal prostate cancer. By the way, this time he's calling John Artis his best friend at this point, so that's nice. Revealed the tragic news when they spoke alongside each other at a gala dinner for the International Justice Conference. They said Mr. Artis told the Sunday Times, despite being gravely ill, the 74-year-old was determined to continue with his work and had used the Justice Washington event as a motivation to rebuild his health. You can't. Well, you're going down from cancer. I don't know what rebuilding
are you
is.
Rebuild? If it's terminal, that means it's not just his prostate. It's beyond that, and he's in a lot of trouble. You can't rebuild that, dude.
That's going to be tough to rebuild. He explained that when he first visited Carter after learning of the diagnosis, his friend could not walk and could barely talk. Jesus. But now he's much stronger, thanks to his desire to speak at the event.
Oh, just because he wants to?
He wants to, yeah. Well, I mean, he's a fucking got a lot of will, this guy.
I suppose.
Artis said coming to Perth was his motivation. I found out about his illness 8 months ago and was told by doctors there was nothing more they could do. He only weighed 105 pounds at that point, Rubin. So I said to him, what do you want to do? And he said that he wanted to be able to walk and talk and go back to work. He said he had to come here. He told me to come to Australia for Justice WA. Mr. Carter was one of a number of high-profile guests who took part in this whole thing. Okay. So, they said that his friend said that Rubin has come to grips with his disease. He's fine with it now, but he's not going to give up. He's just looking to go until he can't go any longer. He said, and while I try not to think about him going, when his torch burns out, I will pick up that torch and keep going until my torch burns out. As for right now, Rubin isn't thinking like that. I heard him say to someone the other day, he ain't got time to die. That's what he's like. Wow, ain't got time to die. Well, the doctors gave him time. They gave him between 3 and 6 months to live.
Jesus.
John Artis then moved in with him to care for him.
Really?
Yes. Cold-blooded murderer, obviously.
Yeah.
Clearly just a cold,
bad
guy. April 20th, 2014. He couldn't take that it was Hitler's birthday, and he checked out. He's like, fuck Hitler, and he dies. So
I'm going to try to take this holiday as mine.
As mine now. He spent, here he is. He died in Toronto. So, obviously from cancer. Clearly, he passed away in his home. One guy here who worked with him said, I don't think he really understood his own importance. He lent his voice, and because he thought, if I could help, great. I don't think he did it thinking he could move mountains, even though I thought he could. So, there you go. He's
That's
dead.
Crazy. Fucking Artis outlived him.
He did. Well, he's 10 years younger, which helps too.
But Artis has been diagnosed with a shit disease for 20 years at this point.
He really, forever. Fuck, man, he's been falling apart since the 70s.
dropping body parts all over the place.
Carter had just written an opinion essay for the New York Daily News in February, arguing vehemently for the release of David McCallum, a convicted kidnapper and murderer in 1985. He also briefly mentioned his health, saying he was quite literally on my deathbed.
Wow.
He said, I request only that McCallum be granted a full hearing by the Brooklyn Conviction Integrity Unit under the auspices of the new District Attorney Ken Thompson. Knowing what I do, I am certain that when the facts are brought to light, Thompson will recommend his immediate release, just as my own verdict was predicated on racism rather than reason and on concealment rather than disclosure. Carter said, "Now I'm looking death straight in the eye. He's got me on the ropes, but I won't back down." That's Tom Petty took that part out of the song. That was one verse he took out. He's like, looking death straight in the eye, got me on the ropes, but I won't back down. No. We'll take that part out.
None of that rhymes. That's no good.
From pushing me, or there we go. That's better. And there we go. I got it, guys. Guys, come on. I got it.
Get back in here.
I don't know what I was thinking with the boxing metaphors. I'm sorry, but I think I'm on track now.
Maybe I'll try him in Running Down a Dream.
Yeah, maybe I'll try that. It's a different song. He was afterwards cremated, and his ashes were scattered in part over Cape Cod, and in part at a horse farm in Kentucky.
What?
Didn't expect that, did you?
Run him down the Cape. That's where he always wanted to be.
That came out of nowhere. The Cape and a horse farm. Okay. On October 15th, 2014, McCallum was exonerated, which was the year he wrote that. 2021, at the age of 75, John Artis died of an abdominal aortic aneurysm.
Yeah.
So he's dead too. They're all dead.
Abdominal aortic? What's in the, is your chest your abdomen still? It is, right?
I suppose so.
That sounds like a heart attack, right?
I think so. No, it's some sort of...
some aorta erupted and he bled to death?
Yeah, an aneurysm might have... I mean, that could go from anywhere. You have an artery, there's an aneurysm.
But he says...
abdominal aortic aneurysms. I don't know. And who knows? But anyway, can't get enough of Rubin?
No.
Well, you could watch Denzel Washington, play him in a movie. You could also buy a Rubin Hurricane Carter autographed white boxing robe.
What?
It's fucking awesome. Yeah, check it out. It's got...
a white one? Hell yeah.
That looks cool. Rubin Hurricane
that's right.
Carter. Yeah, it looks badass, man. It's pretty cool.
That's the one that's what Denzel wore in the movie.
Yeah, it's got a certificate of authenticity for whatever that's worth, as we talked about in Patreon. Also, a Rubin Hurricane Carter signed Everlast boxing glove as well. The robes, you can get $59.99, that bad boy.
What?
That's where it started on eBay. That's not bad.
We are getting that.
That's cool. $13 shipping and handling. And
what's
then
the
glove,
buy it now?
That there is none. It's a bid thing.
Okay.
And then the other one here, the glove is $258.50 or best offer. So that's a little bit more there.
I'd wear the fucking robe, man.
Yeah, just wear it out.
Hell yeah.
Go out to dinner with it.
I will hang that next to my fucking shower. I'll wear it every morning.
It's a good thing there. That's fun shit. So anyway, there you go, everyone. That is Rubin Hurricane Carter and everything else here.
You root for him, but man, he was such a dick before and after too. Like, like the lavish spending and shit. Like, you didn't have that money, man.
No, no, not at all. Just wow,
hustling.
It's fucking wild, man.
That's weird.
Either way, though, there you go. That's Rubin Carter. He was convicted, exonerated, exonerated, almost fucking tried again.
Certainly didn't do that. But in that case, is it just fucking unsolved?
It's unsolved. Yeah, they don't know who the fuck did it. There's no way to know anybody. They didn't know then who did it. They just blamed it on them, and then they didn't investigate it anymore. So,
I mean,
if they wanted to find out who did it, they probably should have investigated it in 1966 rather than blame two guys that didn't do it.
Pockets stuffed full of money from the establishment where people were murdered.
That would help, probably, yeah. Maybe start with him and work backwards. But there you go. If you like that, please tell everyone that you've ever met about the show and what we do here and that they should listen to this show. Leave a review. Give us 5 stars on whatever app you're listening on. It doesn't matter. It helps us tremendously. So thank you for doing that. Certainly head over to shutupandgivememurder.com. Tickets for live shows. Tickets for the virtual live show on Halloween. Small Town Murder Virtual Live. It gets so good. We're going to have costumes. It's going to be so fucking fun. So check that out. Also, September 20th in Minneapolis. Come to that show. You definitely want to follow on social media at Crime and Sports. And you should listen to our other 2 shows, Small Town Murder and Your Stupid Opinions. And you should definitely get Patreon. Patreon.com/Crime and Sports is where you get all the bonus material. $5 a month or above gets you a whole back catalog, hundreds of episodes immediately. Looking for some shit to binge?
Right, okay. Yep.
There you go. You got it. And then new ones every other week because we're not stopping. We keep them flowing. 1 Crime and Sports, 1 Small Town Murder. We give you all of that. Every bit of it for the $5. This week, what you're going to get for Crime and Sports, we're going to talk about, this is fun shit, we're going to do theme park disasters again. Yes, I love that. We do them quarterly because they're so much fun. And then, speaking of old favorites, for Small Town Murder, it's back again, everybody. The prisoner dating game is here.
Christ.
It's been a long time. It's been since, I think, January since we did one. So Jimmy's getting lonely, and we got to hook him up. We take
the ladies.
4 ladies and 4 fellas, and their only thing they have in common is they're all incarcerated on a horrible, violent felony.
Yeah.
And I'm going to set them all up. Jimmy's going to pick them sight unseen, just based on their pitch, and then we'll find out who they are, and most importantly, what did they do to get in there. It's going to be a lot of fun. We can't wait. Patreon.com/crime and sports is where you get all of that. And if you sign up for that, not only do you get tons and tons of bonus shit, you get a shout out, which happens right fucking now. Jimmy, hit me with the names of the most wonderful goddamn people in the world who would never try to falsely convict us of murder 3 fucking times. Hit me with them right now.
This week's executive producers are Cat Power, dying alone in Rochester, Jordan Bennett, Tara and Frosty. Hang in there, Tara. Things are going to get better, I swear it. And Franny and Oz, miss you so much, Fran. You're so great.
Thank you.
Holy shit,
Thank
you. Wonderful. Other producers this week are Peyton Meadows, Liz Vasquez, Laura Turner, and Frankie Sue, Gary Howard, Sarah Surridge. Happy birthday, Sarah.
Happy birthday.
Janice Hill, Laura Tershur, I think is how you say that. She's in the Netherlands. I could never get that for sure.
Who knows?
Tershur. Teresa Fernandez, Andrea Carr, Sophia Kofer, Patrick with no last name, Raphael V, Derek Anderson, probably not the NFL quarterback, Miguel, it's possible, Miguel Huvera, Katie with no last name, Amy Ortiz, Angie Galloway, Chris O, Brad Davis, Gypsy Lady, Robbie with no last name, Jim Seidman, Jennifer Bartholomew, Melissa Weiland, Jason Rode, Ashley Brusima, Sebastian Malak, Jeff Leake, David Panzer, Danny LeBeau, Demented with no last name, Antoinette Smith, Mark from Oak Park, Joe Malone, Michelle with no last name, Amanda Stanley, Matilda Weaver, Julie C., Mike Gossett, Lou Gossett's kid.
Of course, there he is. Finally.
Jason
Eagle Jr.
Jason Hahn V with no last name. This show brought to you by the letter V. Jessica Valenzuela, Anna K, Christy Prokop, Michelle Grant, Cody James, Nancy with no last name, Mareth Bakke, Merite, Bakke, V-A-K-K-E. No, I don't
know.
Bake. Terry B, Jason DeVries, maybe. Karen, Gignac. How do you pronounce G-I-G-N-A-C? Is that Gignac?
G-I-G-N-I-C, I think.
N-A-C.
Gignac, I would say.
Is it? I don't know.
Or Gignac.
I say Gignac.
Yeah.
I'm wrong. Jessica Schellenberg. Laura Morgan. But... Christy with no last name. Angelin. Muko. Angelin? No.
Angelin.
Is that her name?
Why not? I guess so. Ange. Hey, Ange.
Buffy Honek. E 15 times. Will Sparks, Leah Osborne, Amy Gustafson, Tim Phillips. Do you remember those chips, Phipps? The little cheddar chips? Those were delicious. Do they still exist? I'm going to look for them. Madeline with no last name.
Find them later.
Wendy with no last name. Tim Kennedy, Rachel Crump, Chris Byrne, Elizabeth Lundy, Brandy Chapman, Don, Asia Taylor, Jeremiah Robinson, Amanda Parks, Jose Leal, Nzinga Bryant, Douglas Ecker, Ike. It's not Eek, it's Ike Stevens. Eek the cat. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Fucking...
Things are coming out of nowhere. You're flooding Jimmy with memories.
Heather Hicks, Christine Cohen, Amber Thomas, Chance Crocker, Nicole Reese, Jess Bennett, Jane Boniface.
Hey, Bonifacio.
This show brought to you by the letter W. Kat Irving, Ryan Frank, Bailey Barry-Ochoa, Abigail Kennedy, Jessica Cagle, Aaron Cochran, Jose Escobedo, Janice Worthy. Oh, man. Remember James Worthy? All right. Ashley Lissy, Whitney Bach, Luke Haggerty. Bobby.
UNC was killing it when they had Worthy. Lakers, wow.
Luke Haggerty, Bobby Farney, Douglas Emerson, Jim Bloomley, Dan with no last name, Chris Ramsey, Mike Welch, Jess Newmeyer, Graham Woods, Carrie Kelly, Christopher Nelson, Sam Pulley, Jaden Williams, R. Justin Apsley, Dean Mean, all right, Beck O'Reilly, Adam Bainbridge, Wendy Brady, Cameron Toe Stevens. Toe is his nickname, evidently. Oh. Tyler the Testicle Tickler. All right, good for you.
People appreciate that, I'm
Tickle
sure.
My own. Chris Green, Emily Paulus, Kitty Bitts, Jay with no last name, Dist Michael, Diced maybe? I don't know. Tommy DiGiacomo. Nope, DiGiacomo. Nilly.
DiGiacomo.
DiGiacomo.
DiGiacomo, probably.
DiGiacomo.
GIAM.
Yeah, COMO.
Yeah, DiGiacomo.
Yeah.
DiGiacomo. Giacomo is James in Italian, by the way.
Is that right?
Yeah, his name's DeJames. Yeah.
Isn't that part of a song? My grandma and your grandma, DiGiacomo by the fire.
I don't think that quite is the one.
Nellie Mittens, Christina Jimenez, Alexery. Alexery? What? Guilt?
That sounds like an allergy drug.
It does.
Alexery. Yeah, try Alexery now. Will cause anal leakage.
Do you have numb toes? Try Alexery.
Try Alexery.
Melissa Williams, David Bird Jr., Amber Marie, Pete with no last name, nope, that's Y. That's a letter Y.
Pronouncing names is one thing.
God
identifying letters were in another area. I don't know.
Why you, the boss? You. All right. Teresa England, Brittany Keller, Amanda Reynolds, Terry Mitchell, Rancid Min 69. All right. Ms. Cassie, Brooke Reed, Brian Mochel, Sian in New Zealand. Sian? Sean? It's Sian. Is that Sean? I don't know. Is that New Zealand, Sean?
Might be.
Keith Ellis, Andrea
Cyan.
McMillan, Chris with no last name, Malo with no last name, Mila maybe, Allison DiMaggio. That is how you say. I haven't seen DiMaggio in print in a long time. Amanda Stokes, Jennifer Pearson, Jason Wheeler, and all of our patrons. You're fucking amazing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody. We can't tell you how much we appreciate what you do for us. It means the fucking world and keeps this whole thing in operation. So thank you so much for doing it. If you want to follow us on social media, shutupandgivememurder.com has drop-down menus that will lead you to everywhere you could want to be in our little weird fucked up backwater world of in this universe. So keep doing that. Tell your friends. Keep coming back because we're not going fucking anywhere. And live from the Crime and Sports Studios, we will see you next week.
Bye.
If you like crime and sports, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this white Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. We're going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles,
A big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud,
sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
with a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.